Grafting. One procedure, more hair.
You've got nothing to lose but more hair. I feel younger, I look younger, and who doesn't want to feel better about themselves?
This year, grow your hair back. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-4477.
Why can't I just speak to an actual human being? I need a new bank.
Well, actually, at One-to-One Financial, communication is not only number one, it's one-to-one. When you call, you get to talk to a real live Jacksonville human, fast and with someone who's truly concerned about your needs, your security, and finding solutions as a team.
Thank you.
Ready to break up with your bank? Find a real long-term banking relationship at One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit one-to-one-fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
When a client comes to our firm after an accident, we have the awesome responsibility of returning what was taken away from them. Loss of income and earning potential, past and future medical bills, pain and suffering, the loss of the enjoyment of life. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our clients don't seek charity, they seek justice. They're looking to have their life back and property restored. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about your legal rights. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
All offers are with approved credit and not a conjunction. See dealer for complete details. Ram Power Days.
When you decide it's time for a new pickup truck, go where the best trucks are with the best selection to choose from. That's Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside. Drive a new Ram truck and get up to $11,000 off MSRP. Nothing compares to a new Ram truck. Power,
reliability,
comfort,
style,
and the latest technology. Save up to $11,000, $1,500, $2,500, $3,500. We've got them. If you haven't driven a Ram lately, now is the time to buy. Our lenders can get you financed at the best rates available. Stop by for a test drive and experience a new Ram truck for yourself. Bring in your trade and get paid. For great deals and great service, it's Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, I-295 and Commonwealth Avenue, Westside.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Defensive end Chase Young heading to one of the NFL's best on this trade deadline day. Commanders sending the former second overall pick to the 49ers for a third-round pick. Washington today also traded defensive end Montez Sweat to Chicago for a 2024 second-rounder. Vikings acquiring quarterback Josh Dobbs and a conditional seventh-round pick from the Cardinals for a sixth-rounder, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Minnesota addressing the season-ending injury to Kirk Cousins. James Harden is Hollywood-bound, just like he requested, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. The 76ers sending the guard to the Clippers along with two other players. 4 players, 4 draft picks on the way to Philadelphia. The Sixers in a good spot after this deal, believes ESPN's Tim Legler.
I know right now Philadelphia is in a better place, and this, to me, makes them more likely to actually give Boston or Milwaukee, a legitimate series if they get into a second-round best-of-7. I think Philly's the third best team in the Eastern Conference.
Tim Legler on Unsportsmanlike. Injured Suns guard Devin Booker out a third straight game tonight against the Spurs with an ankle injury.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me. Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
How long's that bed music been playing?
I didn't have my headphones plugged in. Too long for Aaron. He wasn't giving me he wasn't going crazy. He wasn't shaking.
Thought you were doing it on purpose.
Oh, no. I wasn't. I just wasn't plugged in.
Thought you were being a little rebel.
We're plugged in now. Oh, Trent Baalke is playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers.
Another master class.
You know what? I think in a way he might be. Everybody wants pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. I didn't think there were any offensive linemen to get, quite frankly, to help you out enough because everybody wants their offensive line. But if you think about, we're talking about defenses kind of winning the day across the league for the most part. I mean, compared to how we thought some offenses would be, the Chiefs are not as strong. The Jags haven't been as prolific. The Dolphins have been up and down. They get punched in the mouth. They don't do well. They don't get punched in the mouth. They do well. So it's been up and down instead of just this race to 40 points every week in the NFL. And part of the reason we think that is existing is because defensive fronts are really good and offensive lines just aren't as good, not as deep. And so I wonder here, after seeing all the fronts and the offensive line struggle a little bit and some of the injuries, if Trent Baalke just did a really smart thing. He just got super good on the offensive line and really added to his depth as well on that offensive line, depending on how all this shakes out. But the bottom line is, if you're just jumping in here on a Tuesday with the trade deadline an hour away, the Jaguars have made a move, and they pick up Ezra Cleveland from Minnesota. Now, if you want this long diagnosis on the pluses and minuses, weaknesses, strengths, all that stuff of Ezra Cleveland, probably not the guy to give it to you, but I will tell you that he's been a standout player for Minnesota. If you look at some of those metrics that you love from your favorite site, I think it's one sack and 300 snaps or something like that. He's a 4-year starter in Minnesota, so he's coming up, obviously, on a contract year. They give up a 6th-round pick, according to reports. That's nothing. 6th-round pick, Kasey, you believe it? They did away with a 6th-round pick in Jacksonville.
How about it, man? What a moment.
That's what, hey.
We come a long way.
Everybody thinks, it says how much you want somebody when you give away a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, or 5th-round pick. It really says the Jags wanted a guy if they're willing to part with a 6th-round selection.
I still think they're on pace for 11 picks at the end of the year this year, though. I think that's a Shipley fact.
So anyway, I kind of like the move, and
I love it.
It is weird to see this. Now, I was just in the locker room. We don't make many locker rooms anymore because they usually do it during our show. But because of the bye, they moved everything up. And it was kind of weird. Ben Barch, I think he basically got, we were seeing him get cut or at least sent to the office or whatever at the end of the media session. This was all happening in real time. And, he's obviously a former draft pick and didn't pan out and had slipped way down the depth chart and been benched for Tyler Shatley. And Walker Little was supposed to take that place. So Ben Barch is no longer part of the Jags. But they get a really good player now to play left guard. There's a lot of spinoffs here. What does it mean for Walker Little? What does this mean completely for the offensive line? Also, are the Jaguars done? A lot to go around. And I think Kasey has sound from Pat McAfee show. Ironically, Doug Pederson was on the show as this is happening. And interpret this reaction from Doug how you wish. Here's his immediate reaction on McAfee's show about trading for Ezra Cleveland.
As we've been live here, you just got a new guard from Minnesota.
Wow.
Congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars who just made a trade for Ezra Cleveland from the Minnesota Vikings, who have got a quarterback today and now shipped a guard out of town. Obviously, you knew this was going to happen. You're Doug Pederson. You're the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But how does it feel to be on a team that's like buyers at the trade deadline as potentially sellers? That's just expectations, I guess, these days.
Well, I think that is expectations. And obviously getting a good player to come in here and help us. And we've already got a good offensive line. And Ezra can come in and give us some really good depth. And it's just a matter of getting him caught up and getting him in the room, with a really good offensive line, guys like Brandon Scherf. He's the leader in there, and Luke Fortner. And, you look at these guys, Cam Robinson, Walker Little, these guys are just busting their tail every week. So getting a guy like Ezra, his caliber, we got a starting type guard, really solidifies our offensive line and makes us better.
So that's Doug Pederson on Pat McAfee, literally within the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Starting type guard. What's that mean?
Listen, they are not. This is a guy that's, you saw the metrics and what he's done, and he started like every game in Minnesota. He played with Phil Rauscher while Rauscher was in Minnesota on the offensive. So there's familiarity here. This is not a move that he's coming to be a backup guy. This was a move to make him the left guard against the San Francisco 49ers, in my estimation, unless I'm missing something. You can compile good players, but there's only 5 spots. Now, what does that mean about Walker Little? And this is where people won't like this, because Walker Little seems like he belongs on the offensive line somewhere for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Seems like he's earned the right.
But this goes back to a conversation we had a bunch in the offseason, guys. You can't just assume a good player can go anywhere else and play a position to the level you want it played. And the bottom line is, we have not seen Walker Little play left guard very much, and neither have they. From a couple of reps in practice and camp to a couple of reps in a game before he got hurt, we don't know if he's any good at that spot. I had somebody over the weekend, not associated with the Jags, tell me it's a dangerous spot to put him in because he's tall. Guards a guy that's as tall as him, they're going to get hurt playing the guard position. So that's a thing they look at. Well, guess what? It took like 5 snaps against the Buffalo Bills for him to get him hurt. I'm not saying he got hurt because he's tall. I'm just saying it adds up a little bit. And I heard that over the weekend. I was like, well, that's interesting. It's an interesting way to look at that. The other thing is he is coming off a knee injury. And how do they feel about where he is health-wise? And they're obviously not super comfortable. The bottom line is you can't go wrong helping Trevor Lawrence out here. Sure. You figure the Walker Little part out later. But I still think this franchise is stuck on what happened a little bit last year, and I'm not saying they're wrong. They had 3 tackles, and they needed them all last year.
Yeah.
Because of the injury to Cam Robinson late. Well, you know what? Walker Little, we want to get you on the field. We love you. But right now, the extreme value for our franchise when we're sitting 6-2 for this season might be to have you just in case Anton Harrison or Cam Robinson get dinged up.
Look, you're 8 weeks into the season. It seems like every other week you're talking about a new injury on the offensive line you're going to have to shuffle around pieces for. So give it a couple of weeks. You may see Walker a little eventually anyway. That being said, this guy they just picked up, Cleveland from Minnesota, immediately becomes your best run blocker. Not necessarily your best pass blocker, but your best run blocker on the offensive line if you subscribe to what PFF says about him.
Well, they also have run the ball pretty well on that left side since Cam Robinson has come back. And so Cam Robinson being nasty and getting into the fold a little bit more and getting acclimated to go along with this guy who's obviously a bit of a mauler and grades out well, it does fortify their offensive line now. I mean, this I don't want to oversell the acquisition of this player, but again, he comes with a nice resume. He's been durable. He's played the position a lot of experience. And you have Sheriff, who's highly decorated. You have Anton Harrison on the right side, who's getting better and better.
Is it weird that Doug didn't mention Anton Harrison, but everybody else?
I know. It was kind of weird. Does it
mean anything? I don't think it does.
I don't think so. I think he's just trying to process it all at the same time.
I agree with that.
Because he's playing better. There is no indication that they're concerned about Anton Harrison. So I think you look at their depth now. This is a team, I will tell you this, back in July and August, they thought this might have been the deepest part of their football team. They really liked the guys they had on their offensive line. Now, they got some injuries. They obviously had the suspension early with Cam Robinson. Ben Barch did not play as well as they thought he would. And now I think they just refortified that depth, if you will, because Walker Little now becomes your 3rd tackle, at least the face value. We're going to look at it that way.
Or just your all-position guy.
Tyler Shatley can play all 3 positions on the interior. And you've got a pretty good front. And by the way, Blake Hance, I still think can play a little if you need him. Like, he can be a guy that you lean on if you need to in a pinch. So I think the Jags are back to really liking their 8 or 9 players on the offensive line.
So up to this point, we've seen the Jacksonville Jaguars hand the ball to Travis Etienne 151 times. He leads the league by almost 20 carries over the next best guy, which is Christian McCaffrey. Does this move tell you they plan to continue that game plan, or that you're still expecting this transition to more high-flying passing game as Ridley gets more comfortable in the playbook?
That's a good call. I don't know if it indicates to me what they're going to do play call-wise. I think Travis Etienne, they know he's a huge part of this. they know they have to run the ball. The Jags, if you look at some of the metrics, aren't great at running the football this year, but they haven't stopped running the football, and I appreciate that about them because I think it has opened other things up, and it's led to some big plays later in games.
And you can do that when you've got a home run hitter in the backfield as opposed to someone you need to keep plotting every 2 yards.
I think this is a little bit more about missed assignments, give Trevor another quarter of a second, eighth of a second, whatever it is, that time frame, give him a little bit more. We have said this, Trevor has been hit more in these 8 weeks than he has in his other whatever games of his career so far, 36 if you count the postseason. I do not remember Trevor Lawrence getting hit with the frequency that he is getting hit, with the violence he is being hit week in, week out. And I think this goes to show you that they want to fortify that again. And now you add that to just take the game against San Francisco coming up, because there's other moves happening. Montez Sweat goes from Washington to Chicago. Jags weren't involved in that. Then Chase Young goes from Washington to San Francisco. So let's focus in on that one. And again, this comes back to the Jaguars not having an ability to identify what pick they're going to give up for Ridley. They have to freeze those assets a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what it's going to cost them. So they were a little bit handicapped by that. But if you just take the fact that Chase Young went to an underperforming defensive front, even though name-wise it's unbelievable in San Francisco, they've been underperforming as of late, including Bosa. He just goes and adds to that defensive front. They're coming to Jacksonville the first game out of the bye week, and what do the Jags counter with? At least for that one game, we're going to get a guard. We're going to go get an offensive lineman. It's kind of interesting if you just kind of put it in a microscope about the game coming out of the bye.
Sure.
And I think that's a fascinating discussion, guys, because what we've brought up several times on this show, I believe the Jags, as they are built, are good enough to win the AFC. I have questioned whether they are good enough to win a Super Bowl against the physical nature teams of the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers before they lost 3 in a row. I think this move showcases that a little bit more, doesn't it? It makes you a little bit more physical, to your point, where you can run the ball. It protects Trevor a little bit against some of those fronts, and we've seen a lot of good fronts already against Jacksonville. I think this is not where everybody was thinking, because you were thinking pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. But the Jags got better in the trenches today to maybe be able to compete for the big thing against teams like the Niners and Eagles, who we believe are two of the most physical teams in the National Football League.
Yeah, Case, it sounds to me like Brent doesn't remember me saying this yesterday.
I was just going to say, listen, I hate to call you the man of the year, but...
Do you hate it? Because it sounds so good coming out of your mouth.
I mean, Brent, do you remember yesterday when man of the year said...
I probably wasn't listening.
I mean, I remember yesterday.
He thought it was more likely that it would be offensive line than defensive line?
Especially after the weekend that Trayvon had.
I probably ignored you.
Yeah, as you do most of the time.
No, not most of the time. Sometimes I just didn't know. I believe everybody's trying to get better on the offensive line. So this is a peculiar move of sorts to me for Minnesota, who just lost their quarterback. They're going to bring Josh Dobbs in and say, hey, we're going to take one of your best protectors away.
By the way, Jaron Hall starting for the Vikings this weekend.
Yeah, so that's why would you get worse on the offensive front?
From what I read out of Minnesota, it seems like Cleveland's had a foot injury he's been dealing with the last 2 weeks, giving Minnesota an opportunity to see what they've got on the bench. They like the guy behind him who's on a rookie deal and still has 2 or 3 more years left on the deal. So they figured they could recoup that way.
They're toast.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't win without Cousins.
And then they're picking up picks at this point.
Yeah, and they got Dobbs. It's not like they went and traded for some front line
Shout out the
quarterback.
6th. I hope they use it well.
Now, I'll say this.
We got him.
I did mention to Kasey, and he gave me 1 or 2 rebuttals that I thought were good, but name a more important backup quarterback in the last year and a half than Josh Dobbs right now. Almost sent the Titans to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then really held that steering wheel for the Cardinals for the first 7 weeks of the season, keeping them from tanking. And then here he comes to save the Vikings.
That'd be wild.
Josh Dobbs, getting it done, man.
Okay, so what, overall, you like this? I guess we haven't asked that.
I love this deal.
Love it. How can you not love it?
It's one of the best possible outcomes.
Brent, I've sat here for 8 weeks saying how bad their offensive line is.
You're right. You've been. They have been getting better than you thought they would be the last couple of weeks.
It's true.
You're still wrong about Pittsburgh. They weren't that bad against Pittsburgh.
That's fine. But if Trevor keeps getting hit like this, at some point he's getting hurt.
19 sacks, I think, this season.
So you bring in someone to help that. They did that today.
And by the way, so Chicago goes out and get Montez Sweat, does not work an extension with the guy.
Well, not yet.
I mean, what's the rush now for Montez Sweat and his agent? You're just going to go get more money in the offseason.
Yeah, but we've seen these happen before. Jalen Ramsey went to the Rams and he didn't get a deal done like 2 days later, I don't believe, and they traded the whole draft away for him.
Then in that case, you imagine they've got the deal worked out already.
It might. I mean, they might start.
But if that doesn't happen out of the Chicago deal, I mean, talk about malfeasance.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. And by the way, I mean, who's better, Montez Sweat or Chase Young? Because Chase Young went for a third, and Montez Sweat went for a second.
Have you seen this from Schachter yet about Chase Young?
I probably haven't.
Okay, so they traded a third for Chase Young, which is a comp third, and the 49ers are getting 3 comp thirds this year. So one of those is going for Chase Young.
It's free.
But if Chase Young leaves and signs elsewhere,
they get it back, right?
They get a comp third.
Yeah.
So they just got this dude for free.
Well,
I want you guys to know.
In a lot of respects, Kasey, I don't think that's very different than the Ridley move that the Jags made. Because if they don't sign him to an extension, they too will get a comp pick for him as he signs an extension somewhere else.
Yeah, but
I know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. I hear you. But also, I think
it's a smart move.
The thought was when they
smart.
traded for Ridley is that they would re-sign him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're thinking that because they already have all of their money tied up in that position.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's a smart move by both organizations. I think those are smart plays by the GMs. Okay, so everybody likes the move. I mean, does anybody not like the move? Here in Jacksonville.
The only naysaying I've seen are people responding to this move with the words Donnell Hunter.
Well, I've actually seen the Walker Little part. I think this concerns people. I think they think they're putting a good player on the bench. I don't disagree with him.
Yeah, I feel that
I believe that.
But I also don't know what you're supposed to do. He doesn't play center.
Can he?
No.
Okay.
Well, we haven't tried yet.
I'm just saying. Like, here's what I'm worried about in the Walker Little situation. I think he deserves to be on the field. But if I'm Walker Little, I'm upset today. Like, just to be real with you, I am. Because he's proven it, and he's good enough to be on the field. So if he's not, come the game they play San Francisco, or even a week later, let's say they can't get Ezra ready to play football in that time, whatever. Like, I'm mad if I'm Walker Little. So I'd be worried about if anything with the Walker Little situation is this going to be a problem to where Walker Little doesn't want to be here, and then you can't go through with your plan potentially to make him the next left tackle, Cam goes goodbye in the offseason. Does that now get ruined because Walker Little doesn't play football on a consistent basis the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think, Kasey, I get it, and I'm not telling you that that's impossible to happen. I just think not every situation is James Harden. You know what I mean?
I do.
Not every situation that doesn't go according to plan, that people don't get exactly what they want, turns into James Harden not showing up and asking for trades and all that stuff. Like, and other things happen like that around sports. It's not just James Harden, but you get my point. I think Walker Little, I think he kind of gets everything, and who knows if he's super comfortable at left guard. Yet he does want to be on the field, I'm sure.
He's a smart dude. I'm sure he gets it.
He's also coming up on the end of that contract with no playing time.
But I also think there's something in this for Walker Little at the end of the rainbow, right? I mean, he's probably their future left tackle. Yeah,
because the potential out on Cam's big contract is at the end of this season.
That's right. So the future left tackle of the Jacksonville Jaguars is likely Walker Little.
True. And I don't disagree with that, but
he can still be mad, though. I'm not saying
if you've made that guy mad, because think about this. Walker Little, who played good at left tackle, played good at right tackle, didn't play enough at guard. If that guy was playing consistent football, how much money would he make, Brent?
I mean, Juwan Taylor made $20 million
how
a year.
Much?
Yeah, off of last season.
And this guy who deserves to be on the field can't get on the field. So maybe if I'm not Walker Little, if I'm the agent today, I'm like, what is happening down there?
Well, here's the good news for Walker Little, by the way. If he does end up in that left tackle spot, it will be the final year of his deal, and he will be playing on $1.5 million. So the man is in line for a significant increase, even if it's not top of the market.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. Kasey, I get it. If Walker Little's my son today, which he wouldn't be because he's twice the size of me.
Because he's Walker big, yeah.
Yeah, he's not Ty Little.
Wow.
He really did some mental gymnastics to fit in the blow to his kid. Okay.
He really did.
But if I'd be like, what the hell?
Yes.
Right? Like I'd be dad calling him, what the hell?
Yes.
But that's not where this is. This is about the overall good of the football team and everything else. And Doug Pederson, listen, I'd be what the hell if I'm Ben Barch's dad too.
Well,
so it's a tough business sometimes, and I'm trying to think of where else the Jags have it. And we kind of wondered when Ridley came on board. So when Ridley comes on board and you have Kirk and you have Ingram and you have Zay Jones before Zay has missed a bunch of games, and this hasn't been as big of an issue because Zay has missed a bunch of games. So Evan Ingram still got his, Kirk's getting his, and now Ridley's getting his, and ETN's getting his. But we wondered all offseason, how's this going to play out? When everybody comes off a career year and everybody wants the football and it's part of the business. And what we heard all camp and in the early part of the season is, hey, we're good. We're good. It's about winning. Everybody's good. We're going to get ours. Ridley's done that when he doesn't get all of it that he probably wants. Kirk does the same. So I guess it's similar to that, but at least those guys are playing a little bit, you know? This is a deal where Walker Little's just going to go sit on the bench. Outside of special teams plays, probably.
It's crazy.
And he's not going to play, and that's pretty unbelievable. The Jags have that amount of depth.
That too.
But
at multiple positions.
It is pretty disappointing if you're in the camp of number 72. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else to go unless somebody gets hurt.
But they did get better today.
But they did. Again, you said it yesterday. You've been clamoring about the offensive line. My view on this, I wasn't thinking offensive line at all because I didn't think anybody would give up any pieces on an offense. And nobody has a great offensive line around the league. So I didn't think anybody would give up pieces that could impact the Jags to this degree. And
6th round pick.
They were able to do it.
Are ultimately going to start the guy I wanted the Jaguars to buy in free agency. That was Dalton Risner, but ultimately he went to the Vikings. Now he'll start for them after Cleveland has left now.
And it's just crazy because Donnell Hunter was the guy everybody wanted. And
he's not going anywhere.
I'm sure if this popped up just like in segments, I was in the Jags locker room, so I didn't see how this revealed itself, but it popped up, Jags make a trade with Minnesota. Somebody should have just done that and let it sit for 5 minutes.
Action? Oh, yeah.
Because everybody was like, oh.
Maybe Trent can just call back. He knows the number. I mean,
he's got an interest. Obviously, there's a dance partner there. And he couldn't find dance partners in the draft, so we'll see if the Jags make another move. I haven't been convinced since yesterday's Doug Pederson news conference that they're going to make a move at pass rush.
When's the last time you saw this team trade any high draft pick for anybody? I mean, even Ridley was conditional picks.
Yeah, I mean, could be high, could be second.
When's the last time you saw this team throw a first or a second out?
What'd they trade for Marcel Darius? I know it wasn't that.
It probably was a middle. I don't know.
I can't remember any time this has happened.
They ever traded a first?
By the way, this does put I think if I have this right, a Debbie Downer kind of damper book closing on the Jalen Ramsey trade. I think it was Ben Barch, Kayvon Chason, and C.J. Henderson. Oof. No, that's not right.
No, that's not right.
ETN. So ETN's good.
All right, a little sunshine on that one.
Was ETN worth Jalen Ramsey?
I mean, he might be.
I mean,
you were never keeping this dude forever.
But you had pick 33. Would ETN have made it to 33? Then you don't get Tyson. We can just play this game all day.
Yeah, we could. ETN was a good pick.
It worked out.
ETN makes you feel better about that Jalen Ramsey thing, doesn't it?
It worked out.
Good pick.
Hey, we'll keep an eye on the trade deadline. What else is happening around the league? Continue to talk about this. 904-362-9901. You can jump in via text, via phone as well. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and warm today. Highs in the low 80s. Very mild for trick-or-treaters this evening. It will turn cooler by morning, though, down into low to mid-50s. And a windy, much cooler day tomorrow. It'll be partly sunny. Your Wednesday afternoon high only in the mid-60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Don't miss Beards' incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine. I'm Ellie Anajar. Together, we're Anajar and Levine. If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. Main office, Jacksonville.
Hey,
this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Time to hoop it up and swoop it up with the Ospreys. Men's and women's basketball, the opening tip is almost here. UNFospreys.com for your season tickets. Plenty of options in the beautiful UNF Arena to watch a fun brand of basketball. Season tickets, flex plans, and premium seat and suite options are available. Matthew Driscoll and the men's team always play an exciting brand of basketball. And welcome new women's coach Erica Lambert to UNF Arena. It's the busiest home slate in the D1 era. More than 30 games at UNF Arena. See one and you'll want to see more. UNFospreys.com.
This is Ortho Health Insights, tips for life in motion, brought to you by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. You are never too old or too young to begin improving your orthopedic health. We count on our knees for everything, from walking to working out and playing sports. Knee pain can be the result of aging, arthritis, athletic activities, and injuries. Obesity is also a factor for knee pain due to the increased stress placed on the joint and can aggravate the symptoms of osteoarthritis. However, exercise and weight loss can delay symptoms related to osteoarthritis. Being physically active boosts the health of cartilage tissue. People with joint pain can benefit from activities such as water aerobics, which puts less stress on the knee. The orthopedic physicians at JOI are experienced in diagnosing the cause and treating your pain. Whether you need a course of physical therapy or surgery, JOI can help. Call 904-JOI-2000. That's 904-JOI-2000. Or to learn more, go to JOI.net. JOI is the official sports medicine provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Get into the game at Best Bet. Come enjoy the best in-card games, hospitality, and fun at Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park. You don't have to be a poker pro to have a great time. Featuring poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Pai Gow. Wager on exciting simulcast races and enjoy delicious food and drink. Our card rooms are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. and 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Have you seen your financial freedom wiped out by stock market volatility? It's Rich Jones. Consider investing in real estate funds from DLP Capital. Don Winter is CEO and founder.
DLP Capital has provided our investors with consistent double-digit returns by investing in cash-flowing residential real estate. For more than a decade, we have had zero losses, little volatility, and have shot above our return targets in all of our investment funds. Plus, we offer monthly distributions and tax shelter opportunities.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial **invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
This is Brent Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Got to check it for authenticity, Brent. You just go believe in every tweet you see now.
No, I'm not. Do you like the ML football? Is that a thing? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's one of those aggregators. I've used it before, but I've also seen it get a lot wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just an aggregator.
It's just a rumor mill thing, basically.
So in that case, Brent, what do we have?
Let's say it like it's true. Come on.
It appears the market for Chicago Bears standout Darnell Mooney is heating up.
Oh,
teams that have been mentioned, Chargers, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Jaguars.
What?
Really?
Is he going to play center? Like, what are they getting Darnell Mooney for?
Well,
this could be a next year move.
No. This could be a lot of concern over Zay Jones.
I mean, even so, you've got 4 receiving options.
Yeah, but they really don't, right? I mean,
how so?
Because it's interesting that came up because Devontae Adams, I thought he was going to ask for a trade last night after watching.
I'm pretty sure he's asked for it multiple times.
I'm like, could you imagine if the Jags I was just like thinking in my mind, like the most absurd thing that you could think of, and Devontae Adams came on.
It's a fantasy football trade, sure.
And because he is good, man. I mean, the Jags already have guys that get open all the time, like Kirk and Ridley, and that dude is open a lot
constantly,
too, right?
Yeah.
Just don't have anybody that can throw it to him. And that's a problem. And it was a problem last night.
Feels like it's a problem.
My gosh, that was an absurd
There's a couple of
exhibition
ugly
of
passes.
quarterbacking.
Yeah.
But really, if you look at the Jags, they did start with all these receiving options, and Zay Jones not being in. Like, did Jamal Agnew play on offense the other day against the Steelers?
I was pretty sure he played.
I don't think he had a target.
He didn't have a target. I think
But
he
usually
played
if Jamal's
snaps.
out there, he's got a target. You know what I mean?
He definitely played at least a play, I think. I feel like I remember an end around where they didn't give it to him.
I think you're right. I think he played in that role, but I don't. And Tim Jones is not going to be dynamic there. They had depth at the receiver position, but none of those guys are going to really help you right now. The Elijah Cooks of the world, Parker Washingtons, like they're just not going to help you right now.
Okay.
And so this is an interesting. If Zay Jones, which by the way he's still not back, and I think there is more concern about if he's going to be back or when he's going to be back. I don't think it's a guarantee he's coming back right after the bye. And so that would tell you that maybe there is a little bit of a hole.
Agnew with 20 snaps the other day.
Oh, he had that many on offense? On offense or special teams too?
Good question.
Because there are like 21
20's a
special teams
lot.
plays.
I'm not seeing any targets.
Does it break it up? Usually when Agnew's out there, he does get a target or two.
Yeah, no targets.
Right? And he didn't the other day. And so it just got me thinking about, all right, they're really going with Ridley, Ingram, Kirk, from a receiving threat.
ETN.
And ETN,
That was
obviously.
my 4th, yes.
Yep. So, I mean, they right now have lost 5 out of 8 games, and we have wondered about this offense, like not having that other guy as a threat from splitting them outside.
I mean, we did this a little bit yesterday on overtime, but we were talking about that with Zay Jones, and it's like, if you look at the 3 games since they haven't had him, you have, in one of the games, Brenton Strange steps up and scores a touchdown. In one of the games, you have Jamal Agnew with 6 or 7 targets. That was a Saints game.
Who, by the way, 11 special team snaps, 9 wide receiver snaps. Go ahead.
That sounds about right. And then on Sunday, you have Travis Etienne step up in the pass game for really
That's good.
one of the first
That was a
main
good
times.
exercise by you guys on overtime with Kurtz and Middleton.
I appreciate that, Brent. No show today, by the way.
Yeah,
So,
no show today.
You know, you can't get any of that
Inside Seminoles
till Wednesday.
football.
That was a crisp little hit into your hand right there.
You know what I'm
There
saying?
it is, yeah.
But I mean, the point is they've had somebody else step up in these Zay Jones absences. But if it's going to be a long-term severe thing, then maybe you do need more help.
That's wild to me that it seems like this seems to be the case, but Zay Jones could put that big a hole into what this offense does.
Well, here's the deal. I don't think he puts that big a hole if he's out for a game or two. He's now been out for 5.
Yeah. And who knows when he's coming?
We don't even know what the offense looks like with their full complement of players other than the preseason. And when he has played, he made terrific catches against the Colts and against the Bills. And those were 2 of the games that I thought their offense played pretty well in or moved the ball. Now, I guess the Colts game, if you really look at it, that opener was still clunky, right? They've been clunky most every game, haven't been perfect, but he just does seem to add a different dynamic for me. And
but is this like what Mooney does? I didn't think Mooney was one of these seam speedsters, but I'll go look that back up again.
He's got the speed.
He's talented.
Yeah.
I just forget about Mooney or whatever. It's just an interesting. If they were, this was a rumor, by the way, if you just jump in, it was a rumor that the Jags could be interested in a guy like Darnell Mooney, a name that was mentioned. So we're just taking it to like the nth degree now, but trying to figure out if there was a spot on the football field right now, you'd be like, well, they don't need help here. You'd go linebacker, they don't need help. And you'd probably say receiver, they don't need help. Like cross those 2 off the list. But if they are really poking around on wide receiver, this would tell you a lot about Zay Jones and how they feel about his health. And he hasn't played 5 out of 8 games. He hasn't played in the last 3 weeks. He might have come back too early against Buffalo. He was really limping in that locker room against Buffalo. There's been no official diagnosis on, does he have something structurally wrong? He hasn't been placed on IR or anything like that. But I think there's no guarantee. There's been nothing from Doug say, hey, there's been things like, hey, Tyson Campbell should be good. Andre Sisco should be good. There's nothing that, it's like, we'll see on Zay. We'll see on Zay. And he hasn't practiced at all. Some of these other guys have practiced on a limited basis. He's not practicing at all. So I think it just raises some concern, at least, if you put everything together, that he's going to be ready to go anytime soon, at the very least, for the Jags.
If the smoke on Darnell Mooney is real, and we don't know if it is, but even if them kicking the tires is real, does it say more about Zay Jones and what we're missing without him? Calvin Ridley and what you don't have, what you thought you might have? Or Jamal Agnew and what you thought you had and just haven't seen this year? Or all 3?
First of all, Jamal Agnew, I think anything you get in the receiving game from Jamal Agnew is a bonus.
Even with Zay out?
Well, it just is. It's not what you got. He's here to be a wrinkle player, gadget player, and a special return man, which he is. And he has been. And I think he's actually delivered quite nicely for the most part, outside of a couple of fumbles for the Jags, even in the receiving game and the offensive game. And I think he gets a lot of grief from the fans when he's out there, but he actually, I think, does a nice job overall. I also don't think that's what you've pegged him to be and asked him to be when you have him as part of this roster. So Zay Jones, you're asking him to be a lot more. You're not asking somebody to fill in and play the Zay Jones role, even Jamal Agnew, to that degree, right? I mean, Zay Jones, your expectation is he can take the top. He's going to do a lot more things in the receiving game. Jamal can do a lot of things, but I just don't think the expectation there is when he rolls out there that, hey, he's going to have 5 catches for 80 yards today and a touchdown. I think Zay Jones, anytime he lines up, you can have that. If you had a guy like, for instance, we're just throwing a name out, Darnell Mooney, your expectation was he can do that. He's been doing that at times until they kind of forgot about him in Chicago.
Andy Cray making a good point in the chat. He said Zay's usually too good for the third-string guys facing a deal with, and the first and second DBs are dealing with Ridley and Kirk.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's a domino effect.
It's a little mismatch, yeah.
Yeah, you create mismatches. And we think the Jags have that, but we just don't know right now. We haven't seen it. That's part of the reason we all believe this, a little part of the reason. The offensive line's another part of the reason. And if you just take it from a 30,000-foot view, guys, what's wild about what happened today, let's lose the receiver part of this. What's wild about what looks to be happening, where the Jags might not add at all on defense, and they just added on offense. But if you look at the way they've played football this year, doesn't that make the most sense?
Of course. They look like they're all set on defense.
They look like they've played excellent ball on defense, and they don't need any help. They look like they've sputtered some and are not fully there on offense, and they could use a little assistance.
Then again, the Eagles and the Niners have taught us over the years, it doesn't matter how good you are on defense. We're still going to go out and get more at the trade deadline.
And that's okay, and I don't mind that. And if they want to add a pass rusher in the next 20 minutes, that's fine too. But I also understand what they're saying. The other thing about this, what I believe is what they're saying, is, hey, we're still in development mode here. Like, we've got studs like Josh Allen and Foye Oluokun, and we've got Rayshawn Jenkins and a guy who's played a lot. But we're still in development mode when it comes from Andre Sisco to Tyson Campbell. These guys haven't hit their ceiling. Devin Lloyd, he's not hitting his ceiling. Trayvon Walker, you might not like what he's done. You don't think it's enough. Well, he's just played 20-something games in the NFL. He's going to continue to get better. How many guys got better from the first 8 games of last year to the last 9 games of last year?
Yeah.
If the Jags see that with some of their young players, Kasey, they don't really need to make a move if they get it from the right positions.
Yeah, I mean, they have the evidence that they've been able to develop guys since Doug Pederson and the staff have taken over. Again, it didn't start great, but now you're in a spot where, you can buy into the development that they may be able to make. By the way, Rasul Douglas to the Bills. Corner from the Packers.
How much do you believe that, though? Like, I can see why the Jags would believe it, that they've got another 9 games to, like, Trayvon Walker, for example, is going to continue to get better over these 9 games. Would you buy that?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now, what people are wondering, is it enough?
I mean, he's not too shabby so far. I mean, people are used to not giving him any credit, so fine. But, I mean, you look at his stat line, you compare it with Aiden Hutchinson, they're having relatively similar years. Kayvon Thibodeau putting them both to shame this year.
What does he got?
Thibodeau is, I think, the sack leader amongst that draft class right now.
Is he
as well
really?
as the pressures leader. Yeah.
Huh.
We have that coming up in tweets later today.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Kasey, the guy who didn't win Man of the Year, was actually the one who wanted Thibodeau in that draft.
Huh. Boy, you should have seen people in my mentions when Thibodeau started slow last year.
But that being said,
nobody's there now.
I'm buying Walker can still improve, that the ceiling hasn't been. I'm buying that on Lloyd as well. I'm buying it on Tyson Campbell as well, even though he's a great cornerback. I'm buying on Andre Sisco, even though he's been playing at an unbelievable level this year. Even a guy like Rayshawn Jenkins, are you sure you've seen the ceiling on that guy?
No, he actually hit another notch last year, too, in this defense. And again, I think even those guys that are playing well, the veteran guys can still play better in this defense as they continue to just grow together.
A.K.A. Darius Williams.
But I do think Trayvon Walker is where all the eyes are at. And one thing I would say about Trayvon, and I've probably defended Trayvon more than most or others. I can't sit here and tell you that he's been, oh my gosh, going to the Hall of Fame guy. I'm not trying to do that. But I do feel like the same crowd that when I suggested pay Josh Allen now a year and a half ago was like, you're out of your mind. We need better. And right now they want to give him $120 million.
Well, you did need better last year. You're getting it.
Well, so you can get better is my point.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can continue to grow. You can get even better than you are. Like, and Josh, it was years in the making. He showed a lot of evidence of it. So my point is, like, Trayvon, I think people have already said, I'm out.
They're just dug in.
I'm out.
They're dug in. They want to be right on their point.
And whether that flip continues to happen this year, the development continues to happen, the bottom line is if he just stays the same, he's going to go from a 3.5 sack year to probably an 8 sack year in year 2. And that's development. Is that good enough to be the number 1 overall pick? I'm not trying to sell you on that. I'm just trying to sell you that that's a guy getting better and better as you go. Where if we did the same thing, and even a player like Aiden Hutchinson, he had, 9.5 last year?
Yes.
And he's going to be on pace to be about 9, I think, right now, or 9 or 10 right there. So it's consistent. And is that better overall? Yeah, probably. But what does that say about year 3? I don't know. I think Josh is a really good illustration of this.
Yeah.
If you take the temperature of the fan base, especially 12 months ago, or whatever that time frame was, compared to right now. And I think you could tell Josh Allen was a very good football player without him putting 14 sacks on the board. You could tell that he was very good at his craft.
Do you think you need more pressure on the quarterback than just Josh and Trayvon?
Yeah, I do, and I think that needs to come in the middle a little bit more. See, I don't think Kasey, we did this a lot last year. Foley Fatukasi did not play well. I saw a play in that game. Remember? Oh, it was like that stupid Hail Mary kind of play Trubisky had. Fatukasi blew that play up, and Smoot, and then they crushed Trubisky on the play, and somehow he completed the pass to Deontay Johnson. He came back and got it for like a 12-yard gain. It was a wild play, but Fatukasi blew that play up. I believe Roy Robertson-Harris, Fadakasi, Devon Hamilton getting back in, Smoot getting his legs under him. I think those guys can all tick their game up just a bit. Not like this crazy thing. Not flip it. Just tick it up a little bit in the second half. And then that will even create even more for Josh and Trayvon and others. Maybe bringing the blitz on Aluakin or Lloyd or whatever else. And I think that's probably what this front office is thinking right now, too. I think they're trusting at what their eyes are seeing through an 8-game sample. And that's not going to excite you, the fan. I get it.
I'll tell you what else they're not doing. They're not raiding the pantry on a journey that could take them another year or two to complete. Like, they still have all their important picks. Not that you're going to have a top of the draft pick in the first round based on the way you're playing right now. But there are teams out there that are missing first-round picks for a couple of years now.
And I'll continue to say this, okay? If you go back to last January when this town, this city, this fan base, the vitriol for Trent Baalke was unlike I've ever seen
for any GM,
for anybody here in Jacksonville. And where they're at today, there's a lot of equity built up, I think, by Trent Baalke. You can criticize the Trayvon pick and what they're getting out of the number 1 overall pick. Outside of that, there's not a lot to criticize of how they've built this football team. So I think trust is a pretty easy play in Trent Baalke, Doug Pederson, and this Jaguars franchise right now. And I know that's a hard thing to get to. I get it. I'm with you. But I think they've earned that a little bit over the last few months. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
From selling out of a back of a car to one of the biggest outfitters in the Southeast, Baker Sports is quite the story. And on a daily basis, they are helping you write your story with a high school name or sports team across a uniform and so much more. And now it's a one-stop shop with Baker Sports, carrying Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. They already make you look good, and now they can help you look better than ever. Baker Sports, custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team. And it's easy to do at bakersport.com.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union. And that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA. As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, I'm Jen Chelman, President and founder of JSK Marketing, a volunteer facilitator and advisory board member for JWBC and Small Business Leader of the Year for the Jacksonville Chambers Health Council. I've received valuable business counseling and participated in the courses and education provided by JWBC. I believe the support and guidance has given me confidence and knowledge to grow my own business. Learn how to get involved and expand your network today by visiting jaxwbc.com. We look forward to serving you soon.
It's old school card collecting with new school breaks. Davoli's House of Cards does it all. Missing a card from an old 1987 baseball top set? They probably have it. Want to join in on a live TikTok break with the hottest new cards? You can do it with Davoli's House of Cards. Stop on by, talk some sports, find your favorite cards for your kids or for you, like when you were a kid. From Trevor Lawrence rookies to Pokemon and more, Davoli's House of Cards on 210. And join their live breaks on TikTok at Davoli's House of Breaks.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is Greg McGarity. The future of college football is now, and our primary goal is to position the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl and Jacksonville to be prepared for a potential college football expansion. And we need you, our local business leaders, to join our team and showcase that Jacksonville supports college football. Gator Bowl Sports has opportunities for all companies, whether you have 5 employees or 5,000. I would love to meet you and talk about our future. If you'd like to learn more, contact me at 904-798-1700.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Florida license D056341.
On Guarding Your Nest Egg Radio, Mike Lester, founder of Talon Wealth, focuses on a key question many share. Do I have enough to retire?
For starters, we'll do the math for you. But to me, it's really more about lifestyle. I want to find out what's important to you. I want to find out what your expenses are. And then I'm going to give you a realistic expectation moving forward of how your money needs to be invested to accomplish your goals in retirement.
Get to know Mike at guardingyournestegg.com.
Time to hoop it up and swoop it up with the Ospreys. Men's and women's basketball, the opening tip is almost here. UNFospreys.com for your season tickets. Plenty of options in the beautiful UNF Arena to watch a fun brand of basketball. Season tickets, flex plans, and premium seat and suite options are available. Matthew Driscoll and the men's team always play an exciting brand of basketball. And welcome new women's coach Erica Lambert to UNF Arena. It's the busiest home slate in the D1 era. More than 30 games at UNF Arena. See one and you'll want to see more. UNFospreys.com.
Exergen thermometers are the smart choice when selecting a thermometer. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Got a fever? Stay home. To detect fever accurately at home, you need a clinically accurate, fast, and non-invasive thermometer. The Exergen thermometer is backed by over 100 clinical studies. Accuracy matters. Be smart and safe. Measure accurately with Exergen thermometers. Available at Walmart and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. All right, listen, we got a lot more football, 4 o'clock hour coming up, which will hit the deadline. We'll see if there are any moves. We'll recap some of the moves that were made, buyers, sellers. It just doesn't feel like this is going to be as active as maybe I thought it was going to be. Obviously, Sweat and Chase Young, the big names right now, moving out to Chicago and San Francisco, respectively. Happy Halloween, by the way. And
the other thing I don't get, Washington's got Jacoby Brissett sitting there on the bench getting splinters every game. They're asking for a second-round pick for him.
A second?
So they're trading Montez Sweat and Chase Young, but they're going to hold on to Jacoby Brissett for life.
Well, because that comes down to money and future, and maybe Brissett's a very valuable backup quarterback. Okay. There are not a lot of good ones.
But, you're coming up on this draft with 6 first-round quarterbacks in it.
It does sound
You're
crazy.
starting Sam Howell to see what you got. I mean, everyone around that organization has said, just get the kid on the field, see what you got, and deal with it after the fact.
I think I saw Diana Rossini say something like, inside the building, they did not want to move Sweat and Young. But ownership basically said, we're doing it.
We need a clean slate.
You know what that means? It means Ron Rivera's done.
Well, have you seen that guy today, the new owner of the Commanders? He has today traded those two guys and James Harden.
Oh, that's right. He's a 76ers part owner.
So this guy has been mad busy today.
Good for him, man.
That's a busy day. That's pretty wild. Hey, what are the kids for Halloween?
We got a Princess Peach. We got a Miles Morales, and I forget what my oldest daughter is.
You got like a teenager or whatever.
Yeah.
Just go out with a pillowcase.
Yeah. Well, we got a nice little neighborhood party happening today.
Nice.
And Dad's going to collect. The taxed man cometh.
What are you going to be, Aaron?
The guy who eats all the candy is what I'm going to be.
You're not going to take your headphones and pretend to be a radio guy?
No, I'm going to leave him here and then not plug him in as we start the show. That's usually what I do.
All right, man. We'll go have good trick or treat with the kids.
Oh, fine. Kick me out.
You're
That's
leaving?
Fine.
I know you don't want to really go, but
You're
you should go
stepping out
spend
on the
time with
show?
the family.
Brent's making me.
I'm forcing them. Got to go out. Got to go spend time with the kids, man. It's Halloween. It's a big deal to them, even if it's not to us.
Case, once Brent's head is in the room, there's barely any air left for everybody else.
That's true.
That's true.
I'm just going to talk the whole time anyway. Not even gonna, if he stays, I'm just not going to let him talk.
I got you guys tweets, which are probably outdated at this point. Fast moving day, kids.
What do we have today? We have a Halloween segment.
We do.
Do you?
But like sports related, not
I was
like
going to bring you
costume
guys a Halloween segment today, and then I was like, I'm only on the show for an hour.
All you had to do is bring us some damn candy, and you couldn't do that, so you better tomorrow.
Oh, man.
That was a threat right there, Kasey.
Look at you go, man.
We need candy tomorrow.
Yes, we do. Lots of it. And the good kind, not the crappy Brent candy.
Oh, I was going to bring Almond Joys for everybody.
$1,000, baby.
If you bring Almond
Baby
Joys.
Ruth.
$100,000.
100
Price
grand.
is going up.
All right, that's some fun. 4 o'clock hour coming up. We'll recap everything going on. What will the Jags do next? What should they have done? How mad are you? How good are they? It's all on the way on ESPN 690.
Time to hoop it up and swoop it up with the Ospreys. Men's and women's basketball. The opening tip is almost here. UNFospreys.com for your season tickets. Plenty of options in the beautiful UNF Arena to watch a fun brand of basketball. Season tickets, flex plans, and premium seat and suite options are available. Matthew Driscoll and the men's team always play an exciting brand of basketball. And welcome new women's coach Erica Lambert to UNF Arena. It's the busiest home slate in the D1 era. More than 30 games at UNF Arena. See one and you'll want to see more. UNFospreys.com.
The World Poker Tour is here at Best Bet Jacksonville through November 14th. Don't miss your opportunity to become a World Poker Tour champion with 14 poker tournaments, including the Best Bet Scramble, the $5,000 no-limit hold'em main event with a $1 million guarantee, going on now through November 14th. There are still lots of great satellite opportunities to play. Visit bestbetjacks.com for the full World Poker Tour schedule and for more information. That's bestbetjacks.com.
This is Ortho Health Insights, tips for life in motion, brought to you by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Hand and wrist pain is often caused by daily activities and overuse. One of the most common conditions is carpal tunnel syndrome. The symptoms of carpal tunnel syndrome can include numbness, tingling, burning, pain, or a loss of strength. JOI has innovative treatment and surgical strategies for carpal tunnel syndrome. The team at JOI can treat other hand, wrist, and finger conditions and injuries like fractures, sprains, dislocations, and arthritis. The orthopedic physicians at JOI are experienced in diagnosing the cause and treating your pain. Whether you need a course of physical therapy or surgery, JOI can help. Call 904-JOI-2000. That's 904-JOI-2000. Or learn more at JOI.net. JOI is the official sports medicine provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
It's old school card collecting with new school breaks. Davoli's House of Cards does it all. Missing a card from an old 1987 baseball top set? They probably have it. Want to join in on a live TikTok break with the hottest new cards? You can do it with Davoli's House of Cards. Stop on by, talk some sports, find your favorite cards for your kids or for you, like when you were a kid. From Trevor Lawrence rookies to Pokemon and more, Davoli's House of Cards on 210. And join their live breaks on TikTok at Davoli's House of Breaks.
I'm Christine Lisi. Big pickup for the 49ers on this NFL trade deadline day. Acquired defensive end Chase Young from the Commanders for a third-round pick. ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
Chase has been fantastic this year as far as the tempo and the pace with which he's playing with. His get-off, his finesse rush move. If they can just tighten up the coverage in the back end in San Francisco, both him and Nick Bosa and Randy Gregory stand to benefit from the fact that they're really one of the deepest pass-rushing defensive lines in the entire National Football League.
Washington also traded defensive end Montez Sweat to Chicago for a 2024 second-rounder. Bills acquired Packers cornerback Rasul Douglas for a third-round pick. The move reinforces the cornerback spot for Buffalo, which lost Trey White to a torn Achilles earlier this season. Lions acquired Browns receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones for a sixth-round pick. The Vikings acquired Cardinals quarterback Josh Dobbs and a conditional seventh-round pick for a sixth-rounder 2 days after the season-ending injury to Kirk Cousins. NBA, Phoenix's Devin Booker out a third straight game with an ankle injury tonight against San Antonio.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me. Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
4 o'clock hour we go, and the deadline has hit. We have not been traded to the other station.
I don't know. Aaron's gone.
Actually, Aaron, give us your playbook. Maybe we have been. You have been. So the Jags make a trade for Ezra Cleveland.
That's the word.
And it looks like that's it.
I think that's it, Brent.
Will you be disappointed if that's it, Kasey? Where's your mind at?
I think that is it. But, no, I won't be disappointed. They got better today, Brent. How can you be disappointed in that?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think everybody else is. I think we like the smoke a little bit, you know? You know what I mean?
I do.
It's a little bit like draft day. And it doesn't mean like you did the right thing or wrong thing, but it's like, hey, I want the sexy thing on draft day, man. I want to get excited on draft day. And then you go pick like a offensive lineman like they did, and they trade back 2 times, and you're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
and you
it
know
wasn't
what?
fun.
Worked out like it's pretty good right now.
Yeah, not too bad. But it wasn't great in the moment. It wasn't a ton of fun.
So that's a lot what happens, I believe, on a day like today. You want them to make all the moves, but making the moves doesn't always win. Like a lot of people make moves at the baseball trade deadline. Some people do it really well, right? Wasn't the Atlanta Braves a couple years ago made the moves at the deadline did really well?
Yes,
the Red
they
Sox
got Soler, and then he was the MVP of the World Series.
That's right. The Red Sox did that way back in 04. They got Cabrera and Roberts, I think it was, right at that deadline.
Base, yeah.
But they got, they made some of these, those were subtle moves. Who makes like big moves and they work?
Max Scherzer?
Yeah. I mean, the Rangers, if they're going to win kind of in spite of Scherzer.
I mean, he gave him 3 solid innings last night, Brent. 3 solid ones.
Yeah, now they got to figure out if you're throwing in Game 7, if they need it.
I'm not ready. I need to stretch. I'll start.
We'll talk about that World Series a little bit. But I think overall, this is my point. People are going to be a little bit like, oh, man, I mean, an offensive lineman. But to your point, I think it's a great move. I think they got better, a lot better. I think they now have one of the better offensive lines in the AFC, maybe in the NFL. Who's got the best? Eagles?
Yes.
Right? The Niners are pretty good, too, when healthy.
Not too bad. Yeah.
And I think the Jags beefed that up. It's an interesting way to go. And that's why I started the show and I said, you know what? Trent's playing chess. We're all sitting here talking about a checkers game about adding the pass rush and get more. Instead, he does something to beef up what's already good. This is kind of what happened in 2017. Something that you feel okay about, you beef it up even more. It's actually very similar to the Marcel Darius move of 2017, just on the other side of the trench. You buy it?
I do buy it. I buy it in a sense. Their offensive line, although they had humans that could do it, I think they could have used some help there this year specifically. So I think this wasn't necessarily a luxury where Marcell Dareus, I guess I wouldn't call that a luxury either, but like, I think this is substantial because I think they got better. Like, I think this is a starter. Like, we talked about all offseason, how many spots do they really have if they were to sign somebody to be a starter? And there were not that many. And they found a guy today for a 6th-round pick that will be a starter for them that's been damn good for the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, solid, Brent. Good. And in terms of the Marcell Dareus move in 17, again, they had people there. They had that defensive line that was tough, and it was, I guess it does feel more luxury then than this does to me now, because I think they needed this more.
So I asked, are you disappointed the Jaguars didn't do anything on defense? And William says yes.
Oh.
Charlie says yes.
Oh.
Old chap says yes.
Oh, okay.
Doug says no. Got to give Trayvon more time. He had a sack versus Pittsburgh. It's not Doug Pederson.
That would have been wild if it was, though. But, okay, that sounds like something Doug would say.
Keaton says yes. You have a team that can win now. They desperately need a rotational end. Crazy to not give up a 4th for him. All right, so now you sound like my son, Keaton, because I just got this from old Ty as he's out at the golf regionals watching. And he says, how is Chase Young a Niner with a 3rd-round pick? What are we doing? And that's what a lot of people are thinking. But we have to go back to this detail of the Jags have those middle-round picks tied up in the Ridley move. I don't think everybody realizes that, and that's in play, at least in some of this, for the Jacksonville Jaguars on what to give up, what they can give up.
Then slide them a 25-3 and some other 24 pick that you have.
That's a good idea, and maybe they tried.
But
then the San Francisco 49ers say, hey, we'll give you a 3rd-round pick next year. And by the way, the Commanders and everybody else or anybody building a roster wants to get good now. They don't want a 25 pick or a 26 pick for the guy that's going to build it after you get fired. So that's just – we don't see a lot of future picks other than Riley Patterson 2042 6th-rounder that
any minute now they'll be making that pick.
But, yeah, I mean and so then I just ask, hasn't Trent Baalke earned a little bit of trust here? And I think you're kind of out of your mind if you think absolutely no. Like you're just emotional at the moment. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Duval Doom, but I'm going to get to you in a moment. Dollop says, no, and this isn't about trust unless he plans to suit up and sack part of Mahomes a couple of times. Okay.
As in Trent Baalke?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Don says yes. Let's see, that might have been to my, I know it was, shouldn't we trust? Hasn't he earned that? Don says yes.
All right.
Gaming Jaguar says yes. A legit edge threat and rotation could have taken the defense to new heights. Okay, he was disappointed that they didn't do that. So I'm combining a couple
here. You
here.
ask way too many questions, bro.
Yeah, I do that. Johnny, which is Duval Doom, says, no, he hasn't. Chad Henne went 98 yards on this team. Why is this so hard for people? Because, Johnny, he didn't really go 98 yards on this people. Pacheco went like 40-something yards, and Foye Oluokun missed an interception that would have changed that game. They had the opportunity to do it. This wasn't a Chad Henne thing. So I think we're locked into that way too much.
I mean, you know.
Danny says, extremely disappointed there's no pass rush outside Josh Allen. Baalke still isn't a good GM. He's proved it once again.
It was Chad Henne.
Hey, Danny, if you think that Baalke has proven that he's not a good GM, then I can't talk to you or you're not going to want to listen to me. I can talk to you, but you're not going to want to listen. The job that Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson and this front office has done to put together this football team is extraordinary.
I would agree with you, Brent.
You can't tell me a move outside of your frustration with Trayvon Walker not having 12 sacks, and I'll give you that one. You can have Trayvon. Fine. Have the Trayvon move. Give me another one. And if you're going to go to this year with like Tank Bigsby and all the other picks, these guys weren't relied on to do anything this year. Maybe Bigsby was. So I'll give you Bigsby if you want. Brenton Strange is playing the role they thought he would play. Anton Harrison, who I was critical of, that move, has played pretty well. They've built depth. That's what their mission was in this offseason. They've acquired very good football players. They've built a very good locker room. They are 6-2 and in position to be a Super Bowl contender.
Get him, Brent.
Like overnight.
Get him, Brent.
So this is This is what I mean. Like, he has, if you want to go down the list of moves that this front office, and I say Baalke, I really mean Doug and everybody, what they've done collaborating to build this roster, I do think they've earned a little bit of trust here to say, hey, we think we're pretty good. We poked around. There was nothing that jumped out at us. There was nothing we could pull off, but we think we're good. I think it's dangerous here in Jacksonville to think just because they didn't add a piece on defense to say, oh, now we're not going to win. Like, there was no player that was going to guarantee you were going to be 3 wins better, 2 wins better, 1 win better. Could they have helped? Absolutely. I think there are players across the league that could help. But I don't think any of them guarantee it. Health is going to be a major factor down the stretch of this season. Still, some development will be a major factor down the end of this season. And the offense getting better is the biggest factor down the stretch of this season. Because I still think it's a shade unfair to rely on this defense to do what they've done. It's not what this was supposed to be.
Yeah, but 8 weeks in.
Oh, they're good. They're good. But I still think it's the offense that has to still be the identity of this football team down the stretch. They have to be the part of this football team that people fear, Kasey, has to come from Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, Kirk, Ingram, and this combination of a passing attack, running attack that can score 35 points on you any day of the week.
I don't disagree, but I also think come January, if they get to Mahomes one more time on that gimpy ankle, Brent, who knows what happens?
Yeah, but okay, so that's I get it. I get it. And everybody keeps saying that and referring to that.
Because you can't.
If Foye picks the ball off, all that doesn't matter. They had the chance.
That's fair. That's fair. I just think it's tough. I know the NFL is like scoring points. That's what we do now here in this sport. But to assume that at any given point in time, you're going to outscore the Kansas City Chiefs in a playoff game, potentially at Arrowhead, that's a bad thing to bet on. And it's kind of what you're doing with the offense. Because Burrow, Brady, that's it.
Let me just ask you this right now.
Okay.
You like the Jags offense more or the Kansas City offense?
It's unfair, Brent, but I would pick the Jags right now.
I mean, so do they. That's my point. They like it too. And it's there for the taking, and they haven't performed up to their ability on the offensive side.
By the way, I can't believe Kansas City just sat there and looked at their receivers and didn't go get one. I'm shocked.
Brian says, no, if the rumor of him not wanting to give up a 4th rounder is true, he's something I can't say.
Ooh.
I don't know where that rumor's coming from, first of all. And again, are we putting all the pieces together on what they actually have to offer, can offer, what's frozen, all this stuff? So I've got a feeling when I throw a question like this out about Baalke, there's a lot of people that this dude could win a Super Bowl here in Jacksonville, and they still won't give credit to Baalke. I think that does exist.
I mean, you win a Super Bowl, it's all forgiven.
There's been a lot of people that have changed, right? There's been a lot of people that have flipped on the Baalke stuff and that will give him credit for what he's doing, and I don't think he deserves all the credit. This isn't meant to be like this huge defense of Baalke. I just think it's a reality. Like, the reality is he has put together a good roster along with Pederson and this collaboration. And they have flipped this thing, and they are a good football team. Don't get caught up today in the fact that just because they didn't add, they're not still a Super Bowl contending team or one of the best teams.
Well, they still are. Brent, I think they made that more clear today by getting better on their offensive line. ESPN just put up a stat on TV, and it is from their analytics next-gen stats. Worst pass block win rate in the NFL. Jags are second.
Are they really?
44.6%.
Wow.
They got better today, Brent.
Yeah.
They got closer to winning the Super Bowl today by getting a starting left guard.
Yeah, and I think we hit on this, but I think it's important to reset because so much of what we do, and I think even the fans, and we love having you along for the ride, and there's a lot of us that talk in town, TV, radio, social media, cover the team. Then there's a lot on the outside. And what happens on the outside and what we're seeing with a lot of the national folks is there's this perception of the Jags, right? There's what I think is happening rather than watching it in reality. The difference here in town is the Jags are pretty good. Like, you're enjoying the ride. You're loving it. They're 6-2. But the mantra around here, since really the summer, has been offense good, defense hopefully good, pass rush isn't good enough. That has been the storyline. Well, here's what has happened in Jacksonville. Defense, very good. Offense, okay. Pass rush, okay. That's what's happened. And when you have a very good defense, do you really have to address it? What the Jags did, to Kasey's point, when he says that win rate number, is they took the okay part of their football team,
and got better.
Meaning the offense, and they got better at the trade deadline. Could they have taken the okay part of their pass rush, in our opinions, and gotten a little better? Yes. They didn't fix that okay, or they didn't add to that okay. It's probably not going to be super dynamic. They're not going to go from 16 sacks at this point to however many sacks. Do me a favor, Kasey. Look up, I know we've done this before. If the Jags end up with, right now they're on pace for like 34 sacks. Where do they fit last year in the realm of sacks? And I wonder, I don't even know where they're at right now this year. Obviously, their defense is close to the top in takeaways, close to the top in rushing defense, all the other things. But if the Jags do get to somewhere between, let's just say, 33 and 37 sacks, put them in that window, they're probably, I'm guessing, top half of the league, right around average.
I think the Wi-Fi is going out, Brent.
We'll fix it. We'll find it. But do they have to be unbelievable to get there? Well, last year the Eagles were the best in the league, and they got there. The Chiefs were, I think, second best in the league, and they got there. And those were two sack-heavy teams.
What a disaster. Okay, the number, if you're saying, what's the projection, 30 what?
I should go between 33 and 37, I think they're tracking for, depending on
so
a
they
little
had
higher low mark.
35 last year.
The Jags had 35 last year?
Yes.
And where was that in the league? Do you know?
24-ish. There's not numbers here, but.
Let's see who leads sacks team leaders 2023 right now. I think somebody has 31 sacks already.
Jeez.
Heck, the Detroit Lions yesterday had 31 by themselves. Baltimore has 31. The Bills have 28. The Chiefs are back again. They got 28.
Chiefs defense is good. Nobody listens.
Yeah, I know. Actually, that's probably one of the missing storylines of the year. Is they're not getting a lot of love. They've been awesome. The Dolphins, Seahawks 27-26. The Eagles are at 25. Commanders 25. And right now the Jags are kind of right where they were last year at like 24.
Exactly where they were last year.
With 16.
And that's one guy with 9.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy on the guy. Listen, I'm not here trying to tell you that they don't need they couldn't use pass rush help. The Niners, for example, have 18 sacks this year.
Right.
And you think they're all world, probably. Listen to this show right now. You think they're unbelievable, and they just added Chase Young. Now, they got better there. But they've got big names there that are underperforming, quite frankly, in San Francisco on that defensive front. The Dallas Cowboys, who have Micah Parsons, they have 18.
Surprising stat of the day. The Arizona Cardinals have 24 sacks. Huh. Hey, that's something.
So the Ravens are good, the Bills are good, the Chiefs are good, the Dolphins are good. So that's a top 4. Seattle's good, that's top 5. Eagles, top 6. Then you get into this weird spot. Commanders, Cardinals, Vikings, Chargers, just okay.
Well, I mean, Commanders, they had 2 guys. They're both gone. They may not record another sack this year.
That's a good
I have
point.
no idea what's happening in Arizona, to be real with you. Minnesota has Hunter. They have 1 guy, and then they've, had some other help. Chargers have 2 guys that are supposed to be great. Steelers follow that, 2 guys. Cincinnati's actually kind of surprising to be up that high. And then Detroit.
It's okay. I'm going to do one more metric here, okay? Rushing yards per game, where the Jags are 4th in the NFL, 79.3 yards per game. The Eagles are number 1. So they have a nice blend of pass rush, 25 sacks.
Yep.
And best in the NFL against the run. The Lions are I think I saw 12, 13, something like that in sacks. Number 2 against the run. Chicago shouldn't count here. San Francisco is good against the run. So a lot of these other teams, let's see, Pittsburgh has a good amount of sacks. They're toward the bottom in run defense. The Bills have a good amount of sacks, toward the bottom in run defense. The Chiefs, good amount of sacks. They're in the bottom half of the league in that. And even the Ravens are kind of middle of the pack right now, but right at 100 yards a game against the run, but very good against
Jags
the pass.
Last year were 12th in the league, 115 a game.
So they've
the run.
upped their run game. Their secondary's playing terrific, and they're getting opportune sacks and pass rush, even if it's not enough. I can tell
like
what they did
30
today.
yards a game better against the run this year so far.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's significant. So they're creating these 3rd and long, 2nd and longs. They're actually shutting people down to the point of nobody's even trying to run.
Yes.
Against them.
Which is incredible.
It's pretty good. That's how good it is. Like you can tell actually, like in the Pittsburgh game the other day, they ran and it was like 1 yard. Like, okay, they're not running again in this sequence of downs. You could tell. They just weren't going to do it. They weren't even going to try it.
And I'll tell you what, Najee Harris looks slow.
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 So, and anyway, I mean, I get it. You want it. I'm not telling you they couldn't have gotten better there. I think they could have. I think they did get better on the side of the ball right now that is underperforming, and that is on offense. And I also think just because they didn't make a move today doesn't mean they can't do everything that they still want to do or you want them to do or you think they can do. I just don't know if it was going to make that much of a difference because I think what they are banking on is a little more development out of Trayvon Walker, a little more out of guys like Roy Robertson, Harris, and Foley Fatukasi to lift their game just a bit more. Devon Hamilton coming back in and making a bit of a difference.
I think they've
Smoot doing the same thing.
I think they've seen in 2 games from Smoot that he's still got it.
He's going to impact it. I think that's a good point, too. Probably the one that I'm missing a little bit because you're right. He looks like he hasn't been out for
it looks good.
10 months. He's around the ball.
Looks good, Brent. I mean, that one that Josh Allen had was basically all Smoot on Sunday.
My biggest reason why I thought that they should get some help in some respect had nothing to do with Trayvon Walker or any of the names that I just mentioned. I think the one thing we know is Chason is not going to be a huge impact at that part of the game. He's not taking that step. Like that there's been enough time to figure that out that he's not going to be that guy. Now, can he do other things? They have him on the field still quite a bit, which means he's doing good against the run. They blitz him the other day, and he obviously impacts the one play. He has landed on a couple of sacks, but he doesn't seem like he's going to impact. And then the other thing we're waiting on is for a guy like Trayvon to have like that dominant Josh kind of game. Can he have at least one of those games that's like, okay, now you better start watching out for me too, not just Josh Allen. And I'm wondering if all the success of Allen gets more attention on him and opens up Trayvon to do that here in the second half of the year. Because you know teams now are game planning for Josh Allen.
I mean, if they don't, they're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing that probably anyway, but they might have to do it a little bit more with the path that he's on. So I get the frustration, but I do believe that this front office has earned some trust, whether you like it or not. I think the moves that they've made, the buttons that they've pushed, have been pretty damn effective over the last year and a half. So we'll find out if they're right or you, the fan, are right.
Well,
the fans have been right before.
Before we go to break, let's find out if this fan is right. That is Steven, who has thoughts on the trade.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We are good. What's going on?
Hey, not too much. I don't know why people are complaining too much. You know, we need to protect the franchise. Everybody has said he's getting hit too much. This is how you help him out. Now, mind you, I agree. The offense hasn't reached its full potential that we all were expecting. Now, I did see on Twitter or X, however you want to call it nowadays, that apparently we were in talks with Angry Bill up north about possibly getting Josh Uche, who is a rotational linebacker and who has gotten sacked. So there was an argument about a 4th or 5th comp pick, and I don't know, he just gave up. But, I mean, I don't know what truly the argument is. Like, we are showing the progression and showing we have a good defense. Mind you, the media still thinks we have a bad secondary when all those yards are in garbage time. But overall, I like it just because I want to protect Trevor. That should be all that matters. Sure, we can get better on pass rush, but we're doing okay. Our defense is damn good. So I don't know what all the taste is about. And I'll take your comments off.
Thanks, Stephen. I guess the last one for me, Kasey, is who do you think Jaguars fans wanted? And you got to rule Hunter out here because didn't it seem like they took Hunter off the board in Minnesota for whatever reason?
I mean, you would think so, because
or made the price so steep that nobody was doing it.
I mean, even if the price was steep, he's like unblockable. So, yeah, I would assume he was unavailable come today. I think Chase Young. It just felt easy. And it turned out, I mean, a third-round pick is not that tough.
No, it really isn't. And I just think you go back to the second, third-round picks, and I think you're tied up in that Ridley stuff.
I get that.
Which is a weird element here, but it's the price of, and maybe they put themselves in a tough spot by doing that. And if they did, now here's what I would be a little critical of. If they wanted to make that move, if they wanted Uche, if they wanted Young or a Sweat, and it turns out that they couldn't get him because that pick was tied up, then this does go back to the offseason. Because where I think the Jaguars missed, where they can be critical of missing, is a player like Clowney or a player like Leonard Floyd. Any of these guys were all available.
Justin Houston.
Justin, you name your guy. Pick your favorite one that was there to be had, or figuring something out with Arden Key, whatever it might be. So I'm not telling you there haven't been missteps potentially in getting more. But I'm not sure today was really the day. It might have been really the summer or really go back to free agency.
I mean,
where the Jags could have made that move.
Yeah, but it also feels like the same guys that were not for free, but the same guys that we talked about then, Chase Young, Danielle Hunter. Here we are.
Well, it sounds like they tried to get Hunter in the offseason, right?
All this time later, but same
summer.
dudes that are still available. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the reason I say that you could be critical is because they had to know that second, third round pick, whatever,
was going to be
tied up, that it was going to be tricky. And you've got to be able to read that, right? What it's going to be worth, right? And so did they not have a good feel for that? Did they not have a good feel for that? Did they not think about that? I got to believe they thought about that. So I think that's where the criticism, if you were mad that they didn't come up with a pass rusher, probably should still go back to there because, again, the Baltimore Ravens are number one in the NFL, and Clowney's been a big part of it from what I understand. I haven't watched every Ravens game, but I think he's been good. And I think Leonard Floyd, if you want to go through some of the pressures and QB hits and other things, I think he's near the top for Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So that's where I think the criticism could lie, that they didn't do enough in the summer, and they had multiple chances.
They did.
Multiple chances. And they had multiple guys in. Like, they knew it was a potential concern. We'll find out. Because here's the deal.
This is it.
Well, this is what we know. Like, this is simple. If they don't win big, and it's because Patrick Mahomes or a quarterback sitting back there for 5 seconds, we're going to come back to today.
Oh, we're going to come back to a lot more than today.
Yeah, we will. But if they don't win because they scored 13 points, it's going to have nothing to do with picking up a pass rusher.
If they lose 17-14, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If they lose 35-31, it matters.
Exactly. So we're going to find out one way or another if what they did today was right or wrong. Hey, we're not done yet. We're just warming up. What else happened around the National Football League? Who did get better? Any of the competitors in the AFC? Are you concerned about it? And that San Francisco game is a very interesting one now in a couple of weeks because of the move that they made for Chase Young today. All coming up. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and warm today. Highs in the low 80s. Very mild for trick-or-treaters this evening. It will turn cooler by morning, though, down into low to mid-50s. And a windy, much cooler day tomorrow. It'll be partly sunny. Your Wednesday afternoon high only in the mid-60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's Twin Tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available. We have one in our home. We absolutely love it, have had it for over 5 years. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Right now, you can save up to $1,000 on a Connecticut K5 drinking water system when you purchase a Connecticut Premier softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com, 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer, Florida license number CFC 1428211.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in because they are making a profit from you. That's the law. Yet many times a normal day ends with injuries because that business breached that duty because they knew or should have known of the dangerous condition that caused your injury. It happens every day in many ways. Slip and falls where cleaning and maintenance were ignored. Falling boxes and items stacked too high. And so many other unexpected occurrences and dangers only known to that business owner. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, let our team investigate and report back to you. The duty to protect customers from harm is the law, and our duty is to protect you after that harm. Visit forthepeople.com for more information, or on your cell phone, dial #law. That's all. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. forthepeople.com.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
Find out what's causing your hair to fall out. Can your hair grow back? What procedures or products will work? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS's Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They're the only clinic to offer the trademark multi-unit hair grafting, PRP platelet-rich plasma, and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure. Real solutions, real results.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. All right, trade deadline in the books. The Jaguars are who they are right now. And the big move today, if you're just jumping in, for the Jags, they did make a move. And it's a significant move. It's just not the move I think everybody thought they would make. Ezra Cleveland comes from Minnesota to play left guard for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Ben Barch is waived from the team. So the Jaguars add to an offensive line that's been shaky at times this year, but look to be getting better and healthier. And the domino effect, which we'll talk a little bit more about at 5 o'clock, probably doesn't sit well with everybody else. But in the grand scheme of things, the Jags got better. The domino is Walker Little. What do you do? because it looked like he was about to come back. Tyler Shatley, who's kind of used to this little yo-yo of being in, being out, well, he just got bumped again, and now he adds to the depth, and so probably does Walker Little moving back to the tackle spots, in my estimation. Blake Hance has been a part of it as well, and the Jags fortify an offensive line that already exists and the depth that they have on their offensive line, so they do get better. And anytime, this is why people won't mind this move, anytime you can protect Trevor Lawrence and help Trevor Lawrence, you're doing right by your organization and by your offense and by your quarterback.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very good move on a lot of levels. It's just a little bit of, okay, now what with number 72? That's the only downside of this. On the other side of the ball, the Jags, everybody wanted them to get a pass rusher. From Chase Young to Montez Sweat to Donnell Hunter or to a Josh Uche or somebody. Just make some kind of move. And they didn't. And they now have passed up or swung and missed on the opportunity to really beef up the pass rush on 3 different levels. The draft, because Abdullah's not making an impact right now. Free agency.
Correct.
For months. Because it wasn't just the initial free agency. You knew they didn't have the money to spend to go get a big one. But they had a bunch of guys out there walking the streets until July and August, and they didn't get them. And now, once again, here, they don't go make a move. So it will be one that has the microscope on it now, is if they do not perform at that spot, they didn't do enough. But I asked the question. I don't think a lot of people are on board with me, at least from social media. It means probably more people are on board with me, just not on social media.
Now they're getting after you, Brent.
That I think it's okay in Jacksonville to trust the guys that are making decisions at the moment, because they've made a lot of good decisions and they've put this franchise in a very good place over the last calendar year. I know you might not want to admit it and you might be mad about the pass rush stuff. I think it's also okay to say that, because that's the reality. It's a good football team. That's one of the best teams in the AFC. That sits 2.5 games ahead of the AFC South, anybody else. They have separated themselves, and they are tracking to do everything you want and they want to do. Now we'll just find out if they get impacted at all by the lack of depth on the pass rush, or the lack of just quality on their pass rush.
Does it? I don't know. Worry's not the right word, but Ezra Cleveland is another expiring contract. Just add it to the list of things they will have to deal with in the offseason.
Probably. This seems like a rental, right?
I mean,
here's the deal. They are probably going to have to fix both guard spots in one way or another.
Well, they might have. I mean, all I'm saying is it may be a rental. You may be right, 6th-round pick, whatever. But if this dude's good, and has been good, and if he continues to be good, it's not a problem that you've caused, but it's now money that you're going to need to spend that potentially you may have needed in other spots.
Well, let me just...
there's no control, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a good call, but let's just say this. Anton Harrison, Fortner, and Walker Little, assuming that goes forward. You have 3 of the 5 spots. You're most likely going to lose Brandon Sheriff, I would assume, given what he's making.
Sure.
And if you lose Cam Robinson, you just freed up some $30 million on the offensive line, Kasey. So you can afford to pay a guy like Ezra Cleveland if he performs for you, and you want him to be the future here going into that next phase of his career. So then you got 4 out of 5 spots. Really, that you feel great about.
But you got wide receivers to take care of. You got quarterback to take care of. You got tight end or running back coming up. You got corner coming up.
They're going to have to. There's a bunch
safeties.
of math. There's a bunch of math.
A lot of math.
But
a lot
hey,
of calculators.
Let's just do this real quick.
Glad
If they were to extend, if they like what Ezra Cleveland was doing, and they say, hey, you're going to be a part of this for the long term. If they were to extend, they bonus money him. He doesn't even cost much for this next year. So they can play with dollars there as well. And Walker Little would be the next year, and Fortner they still got a little bit, and Anton Harrison they still got a lot. So it actually puts them in a pretty good situation because they're going to lose quite a bit of dollars, I think, off that offensive line in this offseason, the way things are tracking.
It feels that way.
But now they won't have to draft 2 positions and fill holes. They might just have to figure out who's going to be their right guard.
Maybe it's Cooper
But
Hodges.
It might be Cooper Hodges, and they might have found that last year.
That would be wild.
Their offensive line could be set for
a while.
As
long as Walker Little's not too upset.
Yes. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the 5 o'clock hour. Hey, run down the list of what we got so far today on trade deadline day. Did we have as much action as everybody thought we would?
So, I mean, in terms of big-time moves, a lot of those, I mean, have been leading up to this point. I remind you Cam Akers was traded. I remind you Van Jefferson was traded, Chase Claypool, J.C. Jackson, Randy Gregory, Mecole Hardman. All those guys traded before today. Also Leonard Williams yesterday. But we talked about it. Chase Young, San Francisco. Montez Sweat, who is older and costs more money, got more draft capital to go to Chicago. So did Chicago mess that one up?
Yeah, it seems like they might have gotten fleeced there a bit.
Also, what is Chicago doing adding pieces? They stink. I don't know if you've heard, Brent. The Chicago Bears are no good.
Yeah, everybody said it made sense, but I guess they were just talking about building for the future because they're going to need big contracts, right? Sweat or Young, so whichever one they got, they now can invest in the future.
Yeah.
Because they have the dollars.
Still, it's wild. Like, you trade for a guy who's probably not that super jacked up to be there, but you know, we'll see. Kevin Byard was another guy that already got traded from Tennessee to the Philadelphia Eagles.
That was a good move.
That was a good move because the Eagles secondary has not been that good.
There was a thought that they might go after the corner from Chicago, Johnson. He stayed put.
He did. As you know, Ezra Cleveland is a Jacksonville Jaguar. Josh Dobbs to the Vikings now that Kirk Cousins is hurt. Kyler Murray apparently coming back. It will either be Kyler Murray or Clayton Tune starting for the Cardinals this week.
Now you know why that came out earlier this week, right? They were saving Dobbs on the trade market.
Donovan Peoples-Jones goes from the Browns, the receiver from Michigan, to the Detroit Lions, who win last night and are apparently good. But not a ton of big-time moves, Brent.
No, I mean, those are moderate. Well, that's what we see around the NFL. So I guess I'm not super surprised. I think there was some activity, but I would say less activity than I thought there might be. I thought there might be a couple more blockbustery type things that happened, and it doesn't feel like that was the case. One quick look at San Francisco. How good of a move is this for the Niners?
I mean, it's high ceiling move. Not a lot of risk. I mean, Chase Young has been hurt. He's underperformed a little bit. He's a second pick of the draft. He destroyed college. Like, this was like a great football player that got picked second overall, and San Francisco just got him for free.
Yeah, they basically got him for free.
That's a wild thing, Brent. So, I mean, they certainly got better. You said it, their pass rush and their defensive line, they have invested a lot in. Haven't gotten a ton of performance this year. They've had some moments. Nick Bosa's obviously great, but not getting home this year for whatever reason. They've added players in the offseason from Philadelphia, Javon Hargrave, and now you throw Chase Young into that, and it feels like if those boys ever get going, or actually I should say when those boys get going, they're unblockable. If they all are clicking at the same time, but they'll have to get clicking at the same time.
Yeah, they have made some good moves over the year. I mean, when did McCaffrey came over in season?
Last year deadline.
Was that in season? That was in the deadline, yeah. So obviously they got McCaffrey. Their offense, if they're healthy, which hasn't been healthy. I mean, Trent Williams has been banged up. Deebo Samuel's been banged up. McCaffrey's always banged up, even though he's a touchdown machine. And now this defense, which you just think automatically that the Niners are really good. The bottom line is the Niners have 2 more sacks than the Jacksonville Jaguars, who everybody's saying not good enough on the defensive front. They have underperformed with the names that they have, but they do have some names now. They've got Eric Armstead. They've got Hargrave, who you mentioned. They have Bosa. You know, they have like Cleveland Farrell and Javon Kinlaw.
Kinlaw, I forgot about him. Yeah, it's the all-name front.
I mean, they got a bunch of names that you know, and then you add Chase Young to it. They're very good at the linebacker spot, and their defense can be good if they're dominant up front. They just haven't had that kind of year yet out of that. They have Randy Gregory, another name.
One way or another, they're going to get home, and they got plenty of options.
But just to let you know, Trayvon Walker has more sacks this year than Nick Bosa.
There you go. I mean, if you want
That's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild. If you want to, like, make that bet towards the end of the season, like, I'll take you up on it right now. I'll take Nick Bosa.
I don't think
if you're trying to play that game.
But it's pretty wild that is the case. Has he played every game? He usually misses some games.
I feel like he missed one.
Did he miss one?
I feel like it, but don't quote me. I don't watch the 49ers like that. One other note while you're looking at that on the Montez Sweat trade. The Bears added again. You may remember last year when they traded for Chase Claypool, and that ended up being the 32nd pick in the draft because Miami lost a first rounder, so it's the first pick of the second round. That's how bad the Bears were. Right now, this is the 35th pick in the draft that they just gave up for Montez Sweat, which could end up being the 33rd pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So really,
they gave up quite a bit. They really got
2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point.
It's weird for the team that is the Bears. Like Montez Sweat is good, but it's
what's he helping you out right now to give up that?
It's interesting.
Where you could have made an investment. Yeah, that's a good call. They obviously see a long-term future with him, or they wouldn't have made this move, I would think. Bosa, by the way, has played every game this year.
Has he?
Yeah.
Huh.
Pretty wild.
They got names, though, boy. You do not want to – if you are playing Madden online and somebody hops in as the 49ers, you don't want that smoke.
Well,
because on Madden, them boys will roll you.
And I understand that. And I think we do get lost in that shuffle. Us in the media, I think even fans to a big degree here. And it's like, well, they got this guy, they got this guy, they got this guy. Hey, yeah, they got 18 sacks. Like 2 more than the Jags. But what you then would say is, Brent, well, they just went and got Chase Young and tried to get better. Fair enough. Good point. We'll see if it makes them better. They can't play them all. Well, they can play them all. Can't play them all at the same time.
I mean, do any of them play tight end potentially?
We'll be back. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
From selling out of the back of a car to one of the biggest outfitters in the Southeast, Baker Sports is quite the story. And on a daily basis, they are helping you write your story with a high school name or sports team across a uniform and so much more. And now it's a one-stop shop with Baker Sports, carrying Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. They already make you look good, and now they can help you look better than ever. Baker Sports, custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team. And it's easy to do at bakersport.com.
Hey, it's Brian Middleton, and I just got back from out of town, and guess what? I'm still on track thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. Now, you might be thinking, being out of town, away from your normal schedule while on a weight loss program, how's that work? Well, for me, it worked out to be pretty awesome. Now, before heading off, my Awaken 180 coach Jenna and I strategized everything. Can I still lose weight on vacation? Is a little cheating okay? We covered it all. And yeah, I had to be a bit more resourceful on my food choices, but instead of gaining those typical vacation pounds, I actually continued to lose weight. Did I have fun? Absolutely. I was able to eat out and partake in all of the vacation activities. And you know what? I'm now down a total of 42 pounds in just 2 months. It's not just a weight loss plan, it's a game changer. And the best part, I'm already back losing my normal 4 to 5 pounds a week. If you're looking for expert coaching, top-notch guidance, and amazing results, then make the call. Dial 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
If you're the victim of a car crash, never rush to settle with the insurance companies and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Hey, poker fans, you're in for a treat this October at Best Bet. With over $690,000 in poker promotions paid out this month, this is no time to be on the sidelines. Highlights include the $400 GoPo 400 with $40,000 guarantee at Best Bet Orange Park, the $100,000 guarantee St. Augustine Championship, and the return of the World Poker Tour $1 million guarantee at Best Bet Jacksonville. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
It's old school card collecting with new school breaks. Davoli's House of Cards does it all. Missing a card from an old 1987 baseball top set? They probably have it. Want to join in on a live TikTok break with the hottest new cards? You can do it with Davoli's House of Cards. Stop on by, talk some sports, find your favorite cards for your kids or for you, like when you were a kid. From Trevor Lawrence rookies to Pokemon and more, Davoli's House of Cards on 210. And join their live breaks on TikTok at Davoli's House of Breaks.
If you're experiencing domestic violence, Hubbard House is here for you. Access life-saving, life-changing resources by calling 904-354-3114.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Time to hoop it up and swoop it up with the Ospreys. Men's and women's basketball, the opening tip is almost here. UNFOspreys.com for your season tickets. Plenty of options in the beautiful UNF Arena to watch a fun brand of basketball. Season tickets, flex plans, and premium seat and suite options are available. Matthew Driscoll and the men's team always play an exciting brand of basketball. And welcome new women's coach Erica Lambert to UNF Arena. It's the busiest home slate in the D1 era. More than 30 games at UNF Arena. See one and you'll want to see more. UNFOspreys.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Hey, welcome back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Obviously, talking a bunch of football today. Trade deadline, the Jags. We're going to reset everything and get more into the Walker Little stuff. Where does Ezra Cleveland fit for the Jags? The offensive line, how much better does this move make them on offense? Plus, got a little fun Halloween game still to play over the next hour. But for a moment, this will not be the most uplifting segment we'll do on Brent and Friends, but do want to celebrate the life and legacy of friend Tim Parenton, UNF baseball coach, passed away on Monday. And you've heard him here on the show before. I think a lot of folks in the baseball community, and even outside the baseball community, know him in town. And he had battled cancer several times, actually, throat cancer. He actually had been cleared back in 2019. We did a story on Action News Jax, and I just revisited that today. And he had been cancer-free, and then it came back and continued to progress. Really a great man. I think if you've watched anything on Twitter today, I think you've seen a lot of reaction from a lot of different folks in Jacksonville and former players and other programs, competitors of UNF. He had been at Florida in the past, UNF a couple of different times. He was a heck of an athlete back in the day for Jesuit out of New Orleans. He was a four-sport athlete, named Athlete of the Decade back in the 1970s. Played at Mississippi State, played 2 sports, football and baseball. Think about that today, like in the SEC, right? So that's how good of an athlete he was, and a heck of a man. Tough dude. Good old baseball guy, man. Think about that old manager, right, in baseball, and Tim Parenton's that with a great soul. And unfortunately, we all lost him on Monday after a courageous battle. 2 things of note as well that I wanted to pass along. I tweeted this today, shared some pictures. It was a pretty cool thing UNF did a couple months ago, early September. They obviously knew the end was coming sooner than later, and Tim and his wife, Sheila, drove to UNF. Everybody gathered outside. There were several hundred people that gathered, and for however long it took, a lot of people basically said their goodbyes in one way or another, with a lot of thoughts and a lot of love on that day. So I shared some pictures from that. You'll see them. You can also go to UNFOspreys.com, read more about the life and legacy of Tim Parenton. But a wonderful man. Too bad that cancer sucks. Everybody knows that.
And despite a hell of a battle against it, Tim Parenton passes on Monday at the age of 61. So a lot of love with Tim's family and his wife Sheila and everybody at UNF, everybody in the baseball community from here to Mississippi State to New Orleans to Gainesville. He will be missed, but left a heck of a legacy and impact here in Jacksonville and on everyone else. Tim Parenton passes at the age of 61 years old. So sorry to have a little bit of a downer there, but did want to celebrate the life and legacy of Tim Parenton. When we come back, we talk more about football at 5, the Jaguars, what they did, what everybody else around the NFL did, and how it impacts the second half of this season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's Customer Appreciation Day for CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing this Saturday, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at CGC on St. John's Bluff Road South. I was just thinking the other day, I've been with CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for over 7 years. The water is better with a Kinetico softener and drinking water system. Kinetico's twin-tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. I've never had an issue with it, and I'm proud to be a customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Customer Appreciation Day Saturday will be from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Hourly giveaways, including a Kinetico K5 reverse osmosis system and Kinetico salt monitors. 15% off on salt and filter as well. Discounts on Kinetico systems, music and refreshments, and you can meet Jackson DeVille from 10:30 until 11:30. Visit cgcwater.com for more information. 904-552-1242. Again, cgcwater.com. Customer Appreciation Day on Saturday, this Saturday, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Jasmine is Northeast Florida's only LGBTQ plus youth center, offering health and mental health programs, housing supports, and teen and family initiatives. Jasmine is the safe place our LGBTQ plus young people need right now. Partner to support our effort. Visit jasmine.org today.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Winter, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Play a little pool, watch some football, eat wings, and, of course, plenty of adult beverages. Perfect Rack Billiards is the place to be on game day and every day. Now open for lunch at 11:30 on Friday and Saturdays. Daily specials like 75-cent Wing Wednesday, $3 Draft Thursday, and $3 Seltzer Saturday. Pool, darts, shuffleboard in a fun, clean atmosphere at Perfect Rack Billiards. It's your Jags game day headquarters. 10 wings and a pitcher for $20 and a free shot with every Jags touchdown. It's up to the Jags to score. It's up to you to have fun at Perfect Rack Billiards in Jacksonville.
The glory and the greatness are only a few days away. The 40th running of the Breeders' Cup World Championships at Santa Anita is finally here. The ultimate racing showdown that every owner, trainer, and jockey around the globe has in their sights. With $31 million in purses and awards, there's a lot at stake, but only the best will claim the coveted title of World Champion. Coverage begins Friday, November 3rd on USA and continues Saturday, November 4th on USA and NBC. Visit BreedersCup.com to learn more.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine better with Syntec Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec High Mileage is formulated for today's engines with over 75,000 miles. Now get 5 quarts of Syntec High Mileage and a MicroGuard Select oil filter for just $34.99. Limits apply. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Defensive end Chase Young heading to one of the NFL's best on this trade deadline day. Commanders sending the former second overall pick to the 49ers for a third-round pick. ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
They go and get a 24-year-old pass rusher who has some health concerns, but boy, he's been really productive this season. And I love the organizational alignment that it's going to be about the fourth quarter pass rush, and you can't have enough depth if you're the 49ers when you're competing against Detroit, Philly, and Dallas.
Washington today also traded defensive end Montez Sweat to Chicago for a 2024 second-rounder. Lions acquired Browns receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones for a 2025 sixth-rounder. The Bills, looking for reinforcements at corner following the season-ending injury to Trey White, acquired cornerback Rasul Douglas from the Packers for a third-round pick. Vikings acquiring quarterback Josh Dobbs and a conditional seventh-rounder from the Cardinals for a sixth-round pick. Minnesota addressing the season-ending injury to Kirk Cousins. Jags acquired guard Ezra Cleveland from Minnesota for a 2024 sixth-rounder. Jacksonville, in the process, improving its depth on the offensive line.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you why it's time for the Packers fans to start panicking when it comes to Jordan Love. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, Football at 5, happy Halloween. Be safe out there, especially if you're driving through neighborhoods. Be smart, be safe, have fun. So weird to be out of that stage. Well, I mean, I still have to drive through neighborhoods and watch out. But,
yeah,
I mean, my kids aren't going out for Halloween anymore. I don't think. Maybe they are. You know what's kind of fun now? Because I'm not a big Halloween guy.
Shocker.
Right? Told you that. Just not. Whatever. Like, I missed a lot of holidays. I mean, you missed some holiday stuff in our business. Missing Halloween.
Not too bad.
Didn't really bug me too much, I will say. But the Halloween games across baseball and softball are a thing.
Ours was so bad, man.
So you guys already did it? Always did it at Palmetto?
Yeah.
I don't know when it became a thing. I don't feel like it was a thing when I played in college. I know it wasn't a thing in high school. But when we got here and, like, Ty started playing at Creekside, like, they've done it for a while. And they just had another one yesterday, and it's part of their, like, wrapping up of the fall. I'm assuming that's how you guys did it too?
Yes.
But Kaylee's done it now in softball. Like, I didn't know it was this commonplace.
Ours was also 100 innings.
Oh, so you combined your 100-inning game. Like, we used to do a 100-inning game.
Yep.
And obviously that's more for fundraising at the same time. So you played in the costumes for 100 innings?
It was awful.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It was really, really bad.
It's
not a great experience.
But now I didn't realize it's all across, like, college as well. Did you see the Arizona State one? It was the best one.
Yes.
That was awesome.
It was good.
Who was that from? Monsters, Inc.?
Yes, Monsters, Inc.
Sully?
What?
Sully. The dude ran fast in that suit.
He was hauling.
Like, that was pretty good.
Sullivan was moving,
Like,
boy.
he had a harder time swinging the bat than he did running.
Yeah, which was not what I thought was going to happen.
That was kind of fun. So I guess it's a big deal, and I kind of enjoy that. There are some other teams, because I follow so much baseball stuff now, or just from the algorithm it shows up. So there are other ones that make, like, 2-minute videos out of this thing. They're making a whole event. And it's just a funny dynamic for me as someone who's not a big Halloween guy, but I really think that's a lot of fun from the team sport perspective to do that and have that as a
Yeah, I thought it was
cool
awful,
thing.
Brent. Thought it was the worst.
You hated it.
Oh, yeah.
What were you? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I remember one year my buddy was like one of those inflatable dinosaurs, and he couldn't feel ground balls.
So you kept getting yelled at. It was great.
I don't know. I wasn't out there yesterday, but there's a group picture, and one of the kids was one of those dinosaurs.
There you go.
And the dinosaur, you see this group picture, and then in the back you just see this big dinosaur head. You don't even see the kid, right?
Yeah. I was a banana one year. I remember the banana.
I was a taco one year. He was a lifeguard this time around.
Lifeguard. That's a choice. That's a decision. Did he wear shorts?
Yeah.
Nice.
Shorts. And I don't know what else. I think they said he was some other food group the last time too, but I can't even remember. I don't remember what it was.
What just happened in here? Did you throw a bottle? Something fell off of something if you didn't throw a bottle at the trash can.
Nope, I didn't. I'm good. Collect yourself over there.
I am terrified. It was loud. I thought somebody was in here. Some Halloween stuff, Brent.
There's some Halloween stuff going. Oh, did you see the other one? Did you see the thing I retweeted about the guy that the drone?
Maybe the snakes are back.
With the ghosts? That was genius.
No, I didn't see this. I'm not locked into your tweets, unfortunately.
Come on, you should be. There's a lot of them.
I know. I try not to.
So I don't know where this thing was, but they had the guy put a made this ghost, really dressed the ghost up, and put it on a drone.
That's kind of cool.
At night.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And so you got these people walking upstairs in the dark, and all of a sudden here comes this ghost flying in.
That's kind of crazy.
What a genius idea.
That is funny.
I mean,
that's
a genius idea, but probably going to give somebody a heart attack.
Most likely. Which is not what you're going for.
Funny.
Shout out Halloween.
Yeah, so there are some good things. Maybe I should like Halloween more than I do. But you don't seem like you're in love with it.
No, I couldn't trick or treat after the age of 10. I was too
you're
tall.
a big guy. You're a big guy. You can't do that.
Worst.
That does kind of suck.
I was giving out candy at 11.
That does, yeah.
That's the worst, Brad. It was awful.
Did you actually go one time and they were like, dude, what are you doing?
Yes, I had that happen. I was 11 years old. So I had to convince my other friends at the age of 12. I'm like, hey, can y'all give out candy with me? They're like, no, we're going trick-or-treating. I was like, oh. So there I was on my driveway alone. Couldn't trick-or-treat. It was awful. Giving candy. This is the wild part. Giving candy to people that would show up to my house that I knew damn well were in high school.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing here?
That's right.
I'm like, no.
There are some things.
No.
Being big, being little, there are pluses and minuses. But it does seem like there are some things about being big that are annoyingly negative.
Yeah, pluses for being big. I'll give you a couple. Had to play on the middle school basketball team. Sucked, but had to play because I could get boards. Couldn't trick or treat. Didn't get the raised giveaways that were 14 and under when I was 9.
Really?
Okay. I didn't get them forever.
Probably couldn't play on some Pop Warner weight limit type of deal.
Also true. My friend got the giveaways 14 and under at the age of 17. Brad, 17. He's an adult.
By the way, those perfect game people want to keep charging. They don't charge for 14 and under. Ty and Kaylee might still get in there once in a while.
I hope they do.
Hey, there's a fist bump when it happens, too.
Oh, I bet. Come on.
How much better did the Jags offense get today?
Lots. A decent amount.
If you're just joining us.
A significant amount, Brent.
Significant.
That's my final answer.
If you just joined us, Ezra Cleveland from Minnesota is the trade the Jags made. They made one move, and there was a counter move, and that was releasing Ben Barch. They trade a reported 6th-round pick for Ezra Cleveland, who's a guy who's played a lot of football in Minnesota. He's familiar with Jags offensive line coach Phil Rauscher. I think it was 20 and 21. Phil was up there. And the Jags beef up their offensive line with the metrics say, the PFF metrics say, 1 sack and 300-plus snaps, I think it is, for Kirk Cousins and that Minnesota offense. So he comes down and helps Trevor Lawrence out. And at face value, you're like, you know what? Good move. Jags just got better on their offensive front. They've been rotating different people in at left guard. They don't have a sure thing at left guard, although it's been played okay at times. They also add to their depth because now Walker Little moves, we assume, to a swing tackle role at the very least, or most. I guess he would move to a right tackle role over Anton Harrison, but I don't think that's happening. I think this is a backup swing tackle role like he had last year, and he was forced to play when Cam Robinson got hurt last year. Tyler Shatley now goes back to the role of left guard, center, right guard, wherever they need him. And Blake Hance will also be part of that rotation who can play multiple spots on the offensive front. And the Jags have an offensive line that now is playing better football, but also looks better on paper with Cam Robinson back in the fold. Now, Ezra Cleveland, Luke Fortner, Brandon Sheriff, and Anton Harrison playing good ball as he starts to begin the second half of his rookie year. So there's a lot to like about it. And how can you argue anytime the Jaguars organization does anything to help Trevor Lawrence and their offense? We've said it countless times. The Jags offensive line has been leaky to start the year, getting better, but Trevor continues to take way too many shots. And I think everybody agrees with that. I think Trevor's ribs probably feel that. I think Doug Pederson and the offensive staff are uncomfortable with that. And obviously Trent Baalke went out and made a move. Kasey brought up earlier, I think it was an ESPN stat that said like 46% win rate is one of the worst in the NFL, 31 in the NFL, I think, for the Jags offensive line.
Yeah, the Jags are second worst in the league in pass block win rate. They only win 44.6% of the time. The Patriots win 43.6%.
That's pretty interesting because if you thought about offensive lines that are, like, I feel like there are worse offensive lines than the Jags, even in that perspective. Like, the Jets, like, where are they? They got to be close to the bottom, I would assume.
You would think.
There are other ones that just don't feel like they're playing
Saints
well.
directly
How
above.
about last night, the Raiders?
Yeah, them boys.
Right?
Are tough. Yeah.
So, anyway, look at this from a wide view. The Jags offense has not lived up to what we thought the Jags offense would be. There were some good things happening, and there were some obvious reasons it's not living up to. They're just turning the ball over at inopportune times. They are moving the football. Travis Etienne's playing excellent. Trevor Lawrence overall is playing really good football. Evan Ingram's having a career year. Calvin Ridley's blending in. Christian Kirk's doing his thing. Piece by piece, they're okay. Some of the things, they're okay. They just haven't been as good and as dynamic and as high-flying as we thought. But that's kind of the deal around the National Football League. The Detroit Lions haven't been high-flying. The Kansas City Chiefs haven't been high-flying.
Nobody really has.
Nobody really has.
Miami,
again, when they don't play a physical team, they are.
Yep.
And they have like the worst strength of schedule of a division leader, I think, in the AFC. So they just haven't beaten anybody too impressive up to this point. So the Jags counter a league that is performing better on the defensive front than they are on the offensive front and throwing these offenses for a loop. That's what we feel like has happened in the first half of the year. That's what we've summed it up to be. And I think others would agree. So the Jags say, you know what? We're going to fortify our offensive line. Aaron suggested they should. I think other people suggested that would be great. I just didn't think they'd have the means to be able to do it or the opportunity because who wants to get worse on the offensive line? Minnesota said, okay, we're going to get a little worse.
Minnesota was like,
wanna,
sure, yeah.
We want to take a look at this younger player, apparently is the word out of Minnesota, and it was a contract year for Ezra Cleveland. So that's how this comes together, and the Jags get better on offense. And I think they got much better on offense. And they make you feel good about protecting Trevor, not only against the San Francisco 49ers or the Tennessee Titans or the Houston Texans the next few weeks, but even if they were to lose a player because of injury like they did last year when they lost Cam Robinson and Walker Little came in and did a fantastic job. There seems to be one downside of this move, and that is Walker Little.
And what happens to him?
What happens to him, I think, is pretty crystal clear.
Well, yeah, I know.
He's going to be the backup swing tackle. He might be the best football player you have not playing. Like, he's got to be, right?
Yes. 100%. Like, he was their best offensive lineman for the first 4 weeks, and now he doesn't play.
Yeah, that's a good call.
He may be one of their best 5. And he does not play.
That's pretty wild.
Make an argument he is the best of their 5. And he doesn't play. Or we don't believe he will play.
That's a really good point.
Yep.
So why? Why do you think they weren't convinced that he could do it at left guard?
Listen, I think at left guard it's interesting because they didn't see a lot of it, in fairness. He gets hurt, hasn't been back in. And he hasn't played left guard. So I can see them from that point of view saying, yeah, we're not still 100% sure this guy can play left guard at this level to get to where we need to go. So if it's only going to cost us a 6th-round pick to go get this guy and be a solid left guard that we know can do it, there's really no risk. there. So I think maybe the lack of experience at left guard would be one thing with why you make the move for the left guard. But in terms of Walker Little being on the bench, it's tough that they're going to do this again for another end of the season unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You bring up, I think you just brought up the best point. Didn't hit me. He was their best offensive lineman.
And it wasn't close.
He was their best offensive lineman in the first month. And wrap your arms around this. He also is perceived to be their future left tackle. And right now you got him doing nothing. Healthy. I mean, he has worked himself back, but he's healthy. I will repeat what somebody told me in the last week or so, and it wasn't inside the Jags organization. I want to make that clear. So I don't know how they feel about this, but I thought it was an interesting note because offensive line, we always say, nobody's really an expert or very few are experts. It's hard to know. But there could be concern about him playing the guard position because of his height alone. Some people believe that you get hurt from that spot on the interior with his height. Well, he played like however many plays he played against Buffalo Bills, and he got hurt.
Right.
Is that a correlation? I have no idea.
Was that the first drive? Second drive?
I think it was I think he only played like 5 plays. So
it wasn't
must
a
be
lot.
his second drive.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a correlation to that specific injury. I'm just sharing what somebody had mentioned to me that would know it way more than I know it. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm like, oh, maybe. And the other problem is just they haven't seen him play there. They just don't know how good he is. And how can he be any good? This goes really back to my thought about this whole thing to start. But I'll give you an example where I think I'm right in the Walker Little conversation and maybe wrong in another one. Just because you have a good player, I don't think you can just move that player to any spot and have them succeed.
Right.
I think that's a dangerous thing to assume. And the Jags had this plan because, like Kasey said, he's one of their best 5 probably. So they're trying to get him on the field. Understood. But it doesn't mean he's going to work at left guard. Well, the practice reps, the very few game reps, maybe they didn't love what they saw. Maybe there's just not enough reps to feel comfortable with the situation they're in. I think that's actually pretty easy to diagnose. Yeah. That's absolutely the case, or they wouldn't have made this trade.
Right. It's as simple as they don't know they have a top-tier left guard. They don't know. They know they have Tyler Shatley, who can play a role. They know who they have Walker Little, who's been great at both tackle positions, but not necessarily guard. They didn't know they had a great Super Bowl winning left guard, and now they think they do after today.
Yeah, and I think I'll give you the other example where I was wrong about it, and Kasey and I will admit this one. The Anton Harrison move to draft him number 1 and say the guy's played like 1 game and a few practices at right tackle. Like, what are you doing?
I was very confused.
Right? We didn't get that. But guess what? He's developing into a pretty good right tackle. It looks like at least halfway through his rookie year. And Walker Little was in a very similar spot. Now, Little had played a little bit of that in college, but he looked like he was doing okay at the right tackle spot too. But basically, the Jags have 3 left tackles by trade. Anton Harrison, Walker Little,
wild.
And Cam Robinson. And they're trying to mix and match and figure out how do we get them all on the field. The bottom line is it looks like today they've said, we've got our 2 tackles, and just in case we need another one, well, we have more depth at tackle than anybody in the National Football League. I think they feel like today.
Oh, it feels like they absolutely do. This one, 2 chats in a row that are similar to this, and it is an interesting point. Right now, is Walker Little a better football player than Anton Harrison?
Yes is the answer to that as a football player.
I agree.
What you're asking me, is he a better right tackle?
No, I'm just asking you what the chat says. Is Little better than Harrison? Just curious.
So I think they're referring to the right tackle spot, and that is a little more unclear. I don't know how. Do you know how good Little was in the right tackle spot?
It wasn't enough of a sample size.
So I don't know if I can answer that question.
I believe he would do a good job. I think he's earned that.
Yeah, I'd be fine if he was over there, right?
Yes. But at this point, Anton Harrison has more reps at that position.
And Anton Harrison's playing fine.
He is. But on the surface of the point of the question, I think Walker Little's better at blocking humans.
Here's the thing. this happens in the NFL, and I think this happens a little too much in the NFL. Because you draft a guy, like Doug Pederson said this, and he said the most succinctly I've heard a coach say it in the past. This was last year's draft, and who they get in 22 draft?
Who did they get?
Yeah, not 21 draft, 22 draft.
They got Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, I know. I meant elsewhere.
Devin
Trayvon
Lloyd.
was going to play, so Devin Lloyd. Give me some others. Why am I blanking on this?
I don't know. Why am I blanking on this?
Who the hell else did they have in the draft?
This is bad, Brent.
I know it is.
We're not too good at this. Snoop Connor.
Snoop Connor was a 5th rounder.
Yep. Who did they pick in between? Fortner.
Fortner. Okay, no, this was actually.
Yes,
I'm glad finally you brought up.
Shapley and Fortner.
So Fortner was actually. This is it. So Fortner gets picked in what, 3rd round?
Yes.
Right.
First pick of the 3rd round.
And Doug at one point, whether it was in the preseason, early in the season, I forget when it was. Maybe when Fortner struggled right out of the gates. It's like, he's the 3rd round pick. We're going to play him. That's essentially what he said. It's like, we drafted him in a spot for a reason. Like, you draft him and you play him. And so I think sometimes organizations, though, get a little too hefty in that. So Anton Harrison, to this conversation, they playing him even if he struggled early on or even if he goes through some growing pains, in part because they spent a 1st-round pick on him. They got to get him on the field. Well, guess what? They spent a 2nd-round pick on Walker Little, and they're not getting him on the field, which I've always found kind of odd because most everybody else you pick in those roles, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, even sometimes the 4th round, you're getting them on the field.
Also Chad Muma in that draft.
Muma, very good. So the Jags also bring up, so this conversation goes to, in my opinion right now, Tank Bigsby as well. See, I think the Jaguars are playing Bigsby as a second back to ETN because they picked him in the 3rd round. And I think there's no question that Dearness Johnson is a better option right now for them. And I think you might be able to make the case that Jermichael Hasty is too. But they're probably still going to put Bigsby in there because they want him to develop. He was an investment for them.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. But I think also they're getting to the point where, you know, it feels like at times bad things have happened when Tank Bigsby's in the game. And when you get down the stretch, you can't really afford that potential to happen.
Yeah, but right now they're not doing I asked Doug Pederson that yesterday.
I get in October is one thing. In December and January is a whole nother.
Yeah, and so it will be interesting. I forget how I phrased it, but I just asked where the confidence is or where his confidence is. Because I knew they were going to say they're confident in him, but where's his confidence at? Do you get concerned about that? So then could Dearness Johnson just get more reps? Sometimes it's easier to watch from the sideline, you know, whatever. You can spin it whatever way you want if you're a coach or anything. There's a bunch of different ways to go here. But Doug basically said, obviously we got confidence in him, but you've got to build the confidence by playing too. And so it's almost like, well, you got to play him, play out of it, play with it, play into playing well. Like, I understand that. I think you bring up a good point. When push comes to shove, if there's another down moment or two, when it's all about winning and you can't afford a mistake, to me, a guy like Dearness Johnson's a more reliable player at this moment, and the Jags might put him in a situation where normally in September and October or in a game that's out of reach, they might have put Bigsby in that spot. We'll see if that happens or not.
What's interesting is this has gone the complete opposite of what any of us thought when they drafted him and when we were in training camp. Is we were trying to figure out how many carries Tank Bigsby was going to get, how good Tank Bigsby looked. And Travis Etienne leads the league in carries by a long shot.
He does.
There's good and bad in there. The bad may be down the stretch, is he still fresh? And if you don't trust Tank Bigsby, who you picked in the 3rd round down the stretch, that may create a problem.
Okay, so this goes, but this would feed into somebody who's mad today about not having more pass rush because I was head scratching when they picked Bigsby in the 3rd round. They were trying to build the room.
There's a lot of confusion during the draft as a whole.
Couldn't they have gone and got an edge rusher instead of waiting to the 5th round?
They could have, yes.
Get a guy that's 2 rounds better. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember what was on the board. I'm just saying.
They did have humans available.
You're probably getting a better prospect in the 3rd round than you're waiting until, I think Abdullah was a first, 5th round pick or something like that.
I mean, Lacey was first, who is technically a defensive lineman.
Yeah, more tackle, but yeah. So, listen, we'll see what happens. But there's a lot of dominoes here is the point on that offensive line. And the overall question is, did they get better? I think the answer is yes. Will this get them to a new gear? What I do like about it is they added to the trenches. They got more physical. And the number one question I have for the Jags is, can they play that physical game? Not necessarily against the Baltimore Ravens. They just did it against Pittsburgh. They've done it against some teams. But can they do it against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles? Can they do it in a couple weeks against the San Francisco 49ers? To me, those teams are on a different level of physical. Can you get to that point? And I think fortifying the offensive line at least did that today. That's why I like the move a lot. And anytime you can help Trevor out, it's certainly not a bad thing. If he gets just a tick more time because of this move, the Jags won the day by making that move. As much frustration as there is that they didn't make another move on the other side of the ball. Let's take a break. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. We'll have a fun time of Halloween and sports. And tell you what else happened around the National Football League on this trade deadline as we put a bow on the show coming up over the next half hour. 6 o'clock inside Seminoles football. I think around 7 or 8 o'clock tonight, the first college football playoff rankings come out.
Yeah.
Where will Florida State be in that? Where should they be? We'll have a little conversation before we leave the show on that. And also Game 4 of the World Series tonight right here on ESPN 690. You can also watch it on Fox 30.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A mild evening turns much cooler later tonight. Temperatures by morning dropping into the low to mid-50s. And a windy, cool Wednesday. It'll be partly sunny, but the afternoon high just 60 to 65. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's incredible buy one, get one on wedding bands now through October 31st.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees, your back, your hips, your shoulders? Hey, get out and do some things in this nice weather here in the state of Florida. That's why you live here. This time of year, you got to enjoy it. Do what you love to do. And you know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Brent Martineau. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body, powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. QC Kinetics, free consultation. Just call 904-274-5522.
Get into the game at Best Bet. Come enjoy the best in-card games, hospitality, and fun at Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park. You don't have to be a poker pro to have a great time. Featuring poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and Pai Gow. Wager on exciting simulcast races and enjoy delicious food and drink. Our card rooms are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. and 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's Twin Tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available. We have one in our home. We absolutely love it, have had it for over 5 years. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Right now, you can save up to $1,000 on a Connecticut K5 drinking water system when you purchase a Connecticut Premier softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Time to hoop it up and swoop it up with the Ospreys. Men's and women's basketball. The opening tip is almost here. UNFospreys.com for your season tickets. Plenty of options in the beautiful UNF Arena to watch a fun brand of basketball. Season tickets, flex plans, and premium seat and suite options are available. Matthew Driscoll and the men's team always play an exciting brand of basketball. And welcome new women's coach Erica Lambert to UNF Arena. It's the busiest home slate in the D1 era. More than 30 games at UNF Arena. See one and you'll want to see more. UNFospreys.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Brent Friends, ESPN 690. Kasey Kuhrts, Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, gone trick-or-treating. Brent Martineau, not trick-or-treating. Not only does he hate dogs, he hates Halloween, folks. But that's okay. It is Halloween. Be safe if you're out. Be safe if you're driving. Just in general, good rule of thumb. Just be safe. If you have a drone, try not to scare people with ghost activities. But sometimes, Brent, it is scary out there. And it has been scary in sports for multiple different teams, multiple different people, some good, some bad, Brent. So on this Halloween, we steal a segment from my guy, Brian Middleton.
I like it.
Created it yesterday. Stealing. We didn't get to it. It's a very Halloween thing to do. Didn't get to it yesterday. He said, you know what? I'll give it to the boys on Brent and Friends. And we will bring you some scary kind of things that have happened so far, NFL or other. I got one from baseball that's quite interesting. Saw it yesterday night, which we will talk about. But from the world of the NFL, it is scary out there if your name is anybody going against Tyreek Hill. That's kind of what it sounds like if Tyreek Hill is getting thrown the football, is lining up across from you. Tyreek Hill in 8 games, Brent, 8 games, 1,000 yards receiving. 8 games, 1,000 yards. He is unguardable. He is so confident in his ability. He's scoring touchdowns, grabbing cell phones, and backflipping with the phone in the hand on the field. It's reckless. He's relentless. He's unstoppable. And if you are a DB that plays in that division, in that conference, and then eventually in the league, the last human being that you want to see on the other side of you is the cheated Tyreek Hill. because he's unstoppable right now. Tua's going to win the MVP because of Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's probably breaking all the yard records this season. And by the way, he doesn't stop scoring. 8 touchdowns, 8 games, 1,000 yards. He's on pace for 2016.
It's pretty wild that we got receivers doing backflips all over the place. Jamar Chase did it too.
It's a wild thing to see.
I mean, we
people
take that for
backflip.
granted, how hard that must be
really
to do with pads on.
I can't even jump in the air, let alone backflip, Brent. But, you know, scary hours for DBs in the AFC.
My turn?
It is your turn.
I'm going to stay outside the Jags for a moment. I'm going to go the Cincinnati Bengals.
Interesting.
Because I think they're about to be scary good. This is a trend, and I don't know why it's a trend. Now, this year they had the injury to Joe Burrow, but defense is good. The offense is now clicking. They have a bunch of scary weapons, and if you didn't get enough separation, you kept them in it. And 0-4 looked like it could have been a possibility for that team, I think. It never happened. And they clawed their way back, and now they're 5-3, just like that. 5-3, 4-3.
4-3.
4-3, because they only had the one. So 3 in a row, and their offense found it. Like, they're not just winning. Now they get to 34 points, stuff like that. So they are as scary as advertising. While everybody's talking about 6-2 Jags, 6-2 Dolphins, 6-2 Ravens, 6-2 Chiefs because of their record, don't sleep on just how scary the Cincinnati Bengals are for the rest of this year. They won 9 games in a row at one point last year. I think the San Francisco 49ers did the same thing last season after a 500 start. And the Bengals feel like a little deja vu on this Halloween.
Brent, I have made many shots at workplace, right? I've taken some shots. I've said, some things about a workplace. But could you imagine being Sam Howell and showing up for work every day, not getting paid a lot of money in the grand scheme of NFL things? He's doing fine, folks. He'll be all right. Don't worry about him. Brent, Sam Howell, when he shows up to work, is running for his life. You know how many times Sam Howell's been sacked this year?
30.
More. Sam Howell's been sacked 41 times, Brent.
Wow.
They've played 8 football games. Maybe he had a bye. I'm not even sure about that. But at most, they've played 8 times. He's been sacked 41 times. He is terrified to go to work. He's been working his whole life as a young child that was trick-or-treating at one time on this day many years ago, playing Pop Warner and Pee Wee, and in high school has been working for this moment to be an NFL quarterback. He finally gets that chance, and he doesn't have an offensive lineman anywhere to be found. We think Trevor Lawrence has been sacked a lot, and he has 19 times. Mac Jones, second on this list, 28 times. Sam Howell has been sacked 41 times. I cannot imagine being that terrified to go to work. Because it's scary, it's disgusting. I'd be terrified if I was he probably wakes up with night sweats and nightmares all the time because some defensive lineman is coming right at him.
That's pretty unbelievable. He hasn't been hurt yet.
41
Just
times.
to give you a little thought, like Burrow had been sacked like 50 plus times. Blake Bortles and Blaine Gabbert, like if you go back to those years for the Jags, 51, 52 times. 41 times, and there's still a half a season to go is a ridiculous number. I don't know what the record is.
May get sacked 90 times.
On pace to be pretty damn close.
That is terrifying. Brent, what you got?
Just for reference to 32 sacks for Trevor in 21, 27 last year, and now 19 this year. So that's why they also got help, because they were tracking to have the most sacks for Trevor Lawrence in his career. I'm going to go with a Jag. I want to pick a Jag here. And I'm going to go Josh Allen because he's got 9 sacks. And it might be scary for offenses, but it might be scarier for Trent Baalke and Shad Khan. Because what if he doubles this thing up and gets to 18 to 20 sacks? How much is that going to cost?
So much, Brent.
And you got to keep him. He's got to be a part of it.
Oh, has to.
So you got to make it work. The other thing about Josh is I would say this. I think he's in such a great frame of mind. But he's had 8 of the 9 sacks in 3 games. Because didn't he have a 3-sack game, and then the other day had 2? I still think the one thing Josh hasn't had in his career is just this constant, and you're not going to get a sack every game, but can you follow up the 2-sack game with a 1-sack game, then a 1-sack game, and then maybe you don't have a sack, but then you get that 3-sack game? I don't think he's had that. Now, he played well enough against the New Orleans Saints to get like 5 sacks in that game. He was oh so close to Derek Carr. So he's continuing to perform week in, week out. But what if he does have a second half that has a 3-sack game and a 2-sack game, but also has like a streak of sacks? Like even if it's just 1 or a half, he could put up some scary number for offenses and for the Jags checkbook when it comes to signing him at the end of this year. And so I just figured appropriate on this scary Halloween where you're mad that the Jags didn't get a pass rush. What about you wish that he gets to 20 on the year instead?
There's a realistic path he ends up with 20 sacks.
That'd
That's a
be nuts.
wild thing. That is a wild thing. Hey, I got one more, Brent. As you have documented, you can listen right here on ESPN 690. But if you were watching last night on Fox 30, the World Series, there was a moment when Max Scherzer was warming up to start, I believe, the 4th inning, and back got hurt, pulled him. They show Chris Young up there in the owner's box, the GM of the Texas Rangers, doing the old slice over the neck thing.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy out of here. That's because they were terrified when they saw their $43 million, 39-year-old pitcher get his back locked up in the World Series. Now, I was surprised that he came out. I was, because this is the World Series. Like, this is all or nothing.
You got 2 games left to pitch.
I mean, Chris Young saw his life of a GM flash before his eyes. I traded for a 39-year-old man. I gave up my number 2 prospect for him, and he's hurt again twice in 2 months since I've had him. I mean, there's ways to win the World Series. There's ways to go to the World Series. Everybody does it differently. This Rangers team has spent a lot of money, has given up a lot of prospects to do so, and they're in the driver's seat right now. They may get it done, but $43 million next year guaranteed to a 39-year-old pitcher, and Chris Young is like, hey, I don't like the looks of this, and they pull him out of the game. That was wild, Brent. You see that? He's up there in the owner's box telling the coach to pull him out.
I started thinking about this, man. That dude is stealing money at his age. I mean, you got to be so careful at 39 years old to get these guys. But then Verlander is the opposite, right? I mean, he's been so good late in age, you'd think everybody can do it. It's the Tom Brady effect a little bit. Just because Brady can do it deep into his 40s doesn't mean everybody will be able to do it. Buyer beware.
That's true. You got one more?
I got one more. And I'm going to go to baseball. I'm going to stay in the World Series, too. Ooh. I'm going to go Corbin Carroll. I love this guy. I think you would. I think he is about as fun to watch as there is in baseball, and we have some great, fun players to watch. But it might be scary to see what he can do from like a stolen base standpoint. Not just now. I mean, in his career. This is a stat that has been obsolete in baseball. They brought it back. The new rules now benefit the ability to run, the bigger bases, the 2 disengagements. This guy's just starting. He led in every rookie category, like every stat that exists this year. So he's obviously the rookie of the year.
Yes.
So that's a hell of a foundation for a player that's just getting his career going in Major League Baseball. I did a quick math. So he had, I think, 54 in the regular season, stolen bases.
Sounds about right.
If he plays for 10 years and does that, that gets him into top 20 all time in stolen bases. Like,
that's crazy.
The stolen base category, in terms of doing something like that, was very similar to a 300 win category in pitching. You never thought you'd see a modern player crack into something like a top 20. And I'm being conservative saying that he's going to play just for 10 years. And I'm being conservative saying he might only steal 55 bases a year.
Might steal 70.
I mean, he might get up to 70, 80 bases a year, depending on how well he does. He hit like 285 this year. So he gets on, but he's only going to get better.
He's a rookie. Like, he's going to get better. Yeah.
So he might even be able to crack into like the top 10, which would be Honus Wagner. I mean, I was looking at how you have to get to names to find out a somewhat modern player. Your guy, Carl Crawford,
is
at 43.
Shout out CC.
Juan Pierre.
Juan Pierre.
He's at 18.
Shout out Juan.
I mean, how long ago did Juan Pierre play?
A while. It's been a while.
Kenny
now.
Lofton.
Kenny Lofton's longer.
Those are two guys that are in the top 20 that have somewhat recently played. I mean, somewhat. Like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find somebody else.
Johnny Damon in there? Ellsbury?
Johnny Damon is 68th.
Wow.
With 408.
Dang.
Like, you just can't find, like, players that have played over the last 15 to 20 years in that category, yet this guy is that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And, of course, you got the De La Cruz kid in Cincinnati. If he has a long career, he might be – I mean, we might start to have that back is the point. But I think Corbin Carroll could be one of the scariest of all in terms of players, the way he has put the foundation on this career. All right, happy Halloween to you. Thanks for Brian Middleton for the segment.
Shout out, Brian. Always doing the heavy lifting.
Music. When you had the play the sound effect again, the scary one.
Ooh, I can do that. I had to get rid of that. But
sorry.
Nah, you're good. We can do that. It's right there.
You suck.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
me.
Brent. That was for you. That was an honest mistake. They're right next to each other.
All right, so I'm trying to think of, like, where is that from?
It's a meme.
I know.
I don't know where it originally came
It
from.
sounds like I feel like that's the laugh in Home Alone, the movie that's playing.
Interesting.
Or it's from, like, the Tower of Terror at Disney.
Oh, I think it's that.
Do it again.
Yeah, let's hear it one more time without the "you suck." Oh, it's the Haunted Mansion, bro.
Haunted Mansion.
I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I'm pretty sure.
Doesn't the Tower of Terror have, like, one of those laughs
it's a
too,
little
like
different.
when you get to the top floor or something like that before they send you down?
I think this is Haunted
It does
Mansion.
actually, you know the whole, like, you know the scene I'm talking about in Home Alone?
I do.
The whole movie scene where he sets everybody. That laugh at the end almost sounds like that too.
A little bit.
That's interesting. That's where it took me.
Yeah, let's one more time for good luck.
I don't know anything.
Oh, sorry, Brent. That's not right.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just dumb.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, it's off the rails, Brent.
Is this just the whole montage of my drops? Please don't go through them all. It's a disaster.
Yeah, we do got a few.
Yay!
That's Brent when he sees a dog.
Yay! Is that what that was?
Brent when
Is that how you
trick-or-treaters come
labeled?
to his house.
Yay! Trick-or-treaters coming to my house. Yeah. I don't think I'll be out there today handing out
No candy at Brent's house?
No, you just put it at the end of the driveway. Fend for yourself.
Oh, so it'll all be gone after the first kid.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, huh?
I hope Steph got something.
I don't think we have any, to be real with you.
We'll put a bow on the show again. Inside Seminoles football coming up. We'll also see where they might land and just recap the day if you missed any of it on the trade deadline day here in Jacksonville. Ben Barch gone. Ezra Cleveland has been traded from Minnesota to Jacksonville. He'll play left guard for the Jaguars. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
From selling out of a back of a car to one of the biggest outfitters in the Southeast, Baker Sports is quite the story. And on a daily basis, they are helping you write your story with a high school name or sports team across a uniform and so much more. And now it's a one-stop shop with Baker Sports, carrying Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. They already make you look good, and now they can help you look better than ever. Baker Sports, custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team. And it's easy to do at bakersport.com.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's old school card collecting with new school breaks. Tivoli's House of Cards does it all. Missing a card from an old 1987 baseball top set? They probably have it. Want to join in on a live TikTok break with the hottest new cards? You can do it with Tivoli's House of Cards. Stop on by, talk some sports, find your favorite cards for your kids or for you, like when you were a kid. From Trevor Lawrence rookies to Pokemon and more, Tivoli's House of Cards on 210. And join their live breaks on TikTok at Tivoli's House of Breaks.
In case you haven't noticed, the holidays are a-coming, so why not make the trip to Grandma's house in style and comfort with a little help from my friends at Arlington Toyota. Arlington Toyota has over 575 new Toyotas available, and your new Toyota purchase comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. Arlington even has all makes and models of used inventory. I'm talking over 400 on the lot. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange program with your pre-owned purchase. Why wait? Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Mary on Demand is live. Start your marijuana education journey today and learn more with Mary on Demand. Take the self-guided education series at your own pace. You'll decide what you'd like to learn and when. Visit mary.famu.edu to learn more. That's mmeri.famu.edu. Mary, educate, learn, talk.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available. We have one in our home. We absolutely love it, have had it for over 5 years. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. Right now, you can save up to $1,000 on a Connecticut K5 drinking water system when you purchase a Connecticut Premier softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com, 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Darius, look who just figured out how to find my Medicare plan options. Just typed in my zip code and boom.
This is not just a search tool.
Look at you go, Mom.
This is Walgreens making it easy to find a Medicare plan with low-cost copays. During open enrollment, use Walgreens Find RX coverage to help you find the right Medicare plan for you. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent AS Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. All right, happy Halloween out there to everybody. Sorry the trade deadline didn't go your way if you wanted a pass rusher. You're welcome, Trevor Lawrence. You got some more help up front.
Shout out.
Ben Bartsch.
Ooh.
We love the smoothies. He was a fun personality.
But there will be no more smoothies to be had.
But unfortunately, no more Jack. I think that's a tough scene if you missed it. We were in there when we think he got told. Like, it was kind of hard to tell. You didn't listen to the conversation. But it was right when the trade was announced. And then right toward the end of the media time. And we think that's when he got called in and was told from what it looked like. This business is tough, man. You go 6-2, you started playing, you know the guys, you've been around them a bit, you got something special and going in Jacksonville, and then they're like, see ya.
You got to go.
I'm trying to think like the equivalent of that. There's nothing like that in our world. Like if they were to fire me, it wouldn't be like, well, man, in another 3 months we would have. been going to the Super Bowl maybe.
I don't know, Brent. Like
what is that like?
If any of us got fired right now, it'd kind of be like, well, we're covering the team that's good. We're finally having fun.
Well, I guess that part is true. But, I mean, you can still watch it and go to it and all that stuff.
Sure, but not for free.
Yeah. But, I mean, this guy, hey, if Jags win a Super Bowl, he could get a Super Bowl ring.
I mean, we wouldn't get that.
Actually, I wonder if he still would get one after playing half the year.
Did he play? I bet they'd give him one. They're
Yeah,
trying
he
to do
might.
the right thing.
I don't know what the cutoff on that is. And I think it varies from, or there's no like hard, fast rule. Just varies from organization to organization. Where's Florida State going to be in the college football rankings?
3rd.
What do you got? You think Georgia's 1?
Georgia 1.
Ohio State?
Ohio State. FSU. Washington.
Washington over Michigan?
They're not going to put Michigan. Not right now. I'd be shocked.
I mean, yeah. It is subjective.
Michigan at 5.
So,
but,
all right.
Yeah.
We will see. I think Florida State will be, I like what you said there. I think Florida State will be number 3 in the poll. I just don't know if they're going to give too much love to Ohio State. Georgia should be number 1 in my opinion, and then Florida State should be at number 3. No overtime tonight. Instead, we have Inside Seminoles football. Then we have the World Series right here on ESPN 690 and also on Fox 30. Hope everybody has a good Halloween. We'll flip it into November tomorrow. Brent Friends on ESPN 690 at 3 p.m.
Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do ball.
Have a good night, everybody.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville.
The World Poker Tour is here at Best Bet Jacksonville through November 14th. Don't miss your opportunity to become a World Poker Tour champion with 14 poker tournaments, including the Best Bet Scramble, the $5,000 no-limit hold'em main event with a $1 million guarantee.